Chapter 328. I'm fine. What could possibly happen to Mom? Xiang Kaiping looked at Su Qingsang and asked her to have breakfast first. Jinyao has something to do at the company this morning. That's why I didn't wait for you to eat together. Su Qingsang nodded. She seemed to feel it when Hua Jinyao got up in the morning, but she was too sleepy, so she went back to sleep. Sometimes she really envied Hua Jinyao's physical strength. No matter what time he slept the night before or how many times he came, he would still be full of energy the next morning. Let's eat. Xiang Kaiping brought the breakfast out. Su Qingsang walked closer and found that Xiang Kaiping not only had dark circles under her eyes, but her eyes were also a little swollen. Did Xiang Kaiping cry last night? That was possible. The sudden encounter with Su Qinghui must have been a great shock to her, so it was normal for her to not be able to sleep well. Seeing her like this, Su Qingsang felt sorry for her, but at the same time, she felt a little conflicted. After finishing most of the porridge in front of her, Su Qingsang looked at Xiang Kaiping tentatively. Do you want to go back to Rong City? Back to Rong City? Xiang Kaiping's expression changed instantly. You want Mom to go back to Rong City? I don't want you to go back. I want us to go together. Su Qingsang was afraid that she would misunderstand, so she quickly explained. Hua Jinyao actually mentioned to me before that he wanted me to go to Rong City with him. But I work here, and I have no other relatives or friends in Rong City, so I'm not very willing. But if you don't want to stay in Lin City, then we can go back to Rong City. Jinyao is also from Rong City. Xiang Kaiping heaved a sigh of relief when she realized that she wasn't trying to chase her away. I'm fine. Qingsang, I acknowledge you. From now on, I'll be wherever you are. Su Qingsang nodded, knowing that this was actually the best result. She lowered her head and continued to eat. In the end, she didn't ask about Su Qinghui again. Whether Xiang Kaiping was willing or not, it was a fact that Su Qinghui was already married. It was impossible for them to be together now. Since that was the case, why should they stay and see each other from time to time and increase the sadness? After lunch, Su Qingsang picked up her bag and went to work. Before she left, she looked at Xiang Kaiping and said, Mom, if you feel bored at home, go out for a walk. It's okay, I'm not bored. Xiang Kaiping looked at Su Qingsang. I bought wool yesterday. I was thinking of knitting a sweater for you. Mom, if you have nothing to do, you can watch TV or take a walk outside. If you have nothing to do, you can go to the neighborhood downstairs and dance with the other aunties and uncles. Don't overwork yourself. Don't worry, I won't be tired. I just can't stay idle. In fact, when she was in Rong City, she could sit at home alone for a day. But now that she had a daughter, she always felt that it was not enough to do anything for Su Qingsang. Okay, I'll go to work first. After Su Qingsang left, Xiang Kaiping cleared the table. In fact, Hua Jinyao had mentioned this a few times. He had asked a part-time worker or a nanny to clean up, but he didn't let her do it. However, in the past 20 years, Xiang Kaiping had done everything for her daughter. Now that she could do something for her daughter, she was so happy. How could she feel tired? Just as she was about to take out the wool, the doorbell rang. When she saw Su Qinghui standing outside, Xiang Kaiping wanted to close the door without hesitation. However, Su Qinghui was one step faster than her. He blocked her movement and squeezed through the door. When Xiang Kaiping saw Su Qinghui, she was furious. She opened the door and forcefully pushed Su Qinghui out. Chapter 329. Leave. Xiang Kaiping tried to push Su Qinghui a few times, but he didn't budge. Kaiping, don't be like this. Calm down. Su Qinghui wouldn't leave. He stubbornly squeezed through the door and closed it. Xiang Kaiping tried to push Su Qinghui out, but he didn't budge. Seeing him come in, the anger on her face became more obvious. Get out, get out. This is your daughter's house. You're not welcome here. Kaiping, Su Qinghui's lips moved. He wanted to explain, but when he saw Kaiping's expression, he swallowed his words. Calm down. Give me a few minutes. Let me finish what I want to say. I have nothing to say to you. Xiang Kaiping didn't dare to think about it. Su Qingsang had suffered so much in the years she wasn't by her side. Her heart ached when she thought about it. The more her heart ached, the more she hated Su Qinghui. Kaiping. Su Qinghui's voice was tired. He didn't go home yesterday. He stayed in the company. He didn't sleep all night, so he looked extremely haggard. Can you calm down? 20 years had passed, and so much had changed. The gentle little woman in his memory became old and sharp at the same time. Xiang Kaiping took a deep breath and turned to look at Su Qinghui. I'm very calm. If I wasn't, I would want to kill you right now. Su Qinghui suddenly smiled. It was a bitter smile. Kaiping, do you know? His eyes fell on the sweater on the sofa, which looked like it had just been knitted. Su Qinghui's voice suddenly stopped. The white wool couldn't have been knitted by Xiang Kaiping for herself. It could only be for Su Qingsang. He closed his eyes. Are you knitting a sweater for Qingsang? What else? Xiang Kaiping looked at him coldly. Qingsang doesn't have a father who cares about her. As her mother, I have to care about her. Qingsang. Su Qinghui looked at Xiang Kaiping, and his lips moved a few times. She actually doesn't. What are you trying to say? Xiang Kaiping hated Su Qinghui's attitude the most. You want to say that she doesn't need my care? Or do I not need your concern? Su Qinghui, are you even human? Su Qinghui looked exhausted. Looking at Kaiping, he suddenly smiled. Yes. I'm not human. I'm not human. I'm not a human. He said 3 sentences in a row, and took a step back. I'm not human. I abandoned you for my future, for myself. I'm not human. I did it for. He suddenly couldn't continue. He waved his hand. She exuded a sense of helplessness. Kaiping. You really don't have to be too nice to Qingsang. She. Su Qinghui. Xiang Kaiping was furious. She didn't expect Su Qinghui to say something like that at a time like this. I must have been blind to believe you, to believe that you would treat my daughter well. I trust that you will treat my daughter well. I must have lost my mind to hand my daughter over to you. I must have thought that you would protect her, take care of her, and let her live a happy life. Why am I so stupid? How could I believe you? You've already betrayed me once. Why should I trust you? Chapter 330. At this point, Xiang Kaiping's voice sounded like she was about to cry. Her eyes were red, and she was so overwhelmed with emotions that she couldn't control herself. You betrayed me, you hurt me, and I endured all of that. I understand the situation you were in. I understand it all. But you shouldn't have treated my daughter like this. If you didn't want to, you could have abandoned her. If you didn't want her, I would have taken her away. I would have taken good care of her. I would. Xiang Kaiping couldn't continue. Su Qinghui's attitude had revealed too many problems. She pointed at the gate. Su Qinghui, get out. Get out of here before I do anything to kill you. I'm telling you, I will never forgive you. Never. Su Qinghui looked at Xiang Kaiping. He had a lot to say, but he held it in. There was no need to say more. There was really no need to say more. Kaiping, one day, you will understand that everything I do is for you. For our child. Get out. Xiang Kaiping was so angry that her head was starting to hurt. Get out. Su Qinghui's lips were pressed into a straight line. He was still elegant and graceful, but there was endless exhaustion in his eyes. He turned to leave, stumbling a little. Before he left, he looked at the ball of white wool and clenched his fists by his side. He was right, he thought. He couldn't be wrong. He walked away, his steps more determined than before. After he left, Xiang Kaiping's body went limp and she sat on the ground. How did the man she had truly loved become like this? Was Su Qinghui really the man she had loved? Qiu Zhenjie was still sleeping, but Qiu Yanba pulled her up. Get up, brother. Qiu Zhenjie was still asleep. She turned over and wanted to go back to sleep. Qiu Yanba didn't give her the chance. He pulled her up forcefully. Qiu Zhenjie, wake up. Tell me, what did you do at the Su family's party the day before yesterday? Qiu Yanba hadn't gone to Su Peijian's birthday party. After all, he had broken off his engagement with Su Peijian, so it wasn't appropriate for him to go. Moreover, Su Peijian knew about his feelings. It would be awkward if they met again. It just so happened that the Qiu family had a business deal to discuss in Harbor City, so Qiu Yanba went on a business trip. Last night, when she came back, she had wanted to talk to Hu Jinyao about the project that she had previously set. When she arrived at the company, She heard that Hu Jingyao had given the project to Su Qinghui. In terms of strength, the Chou family was not inferior to the Su family in the slightest. Moreover, they had previously agreed that the Chou family would be in charge of this project. Qiu Yanba didn't know what went wrong, so he contacted Hu Jingyao immediately. Hu Jingyao only said, "Why did I do this? Why don't you ask your good sister?" Qiu Yanba didn't even make a phone call and went straight home. "Qiu Zhenjiao, explain yourself. What did you do during Su Peijian's birthday party?" Qiu Zhenjiao was no longer sleepy because of Qiu Yanba. She sat up angrily and said, "What can I do? What do I have to do? Aren't you my brother? Why are you throwing a tantrum at me as soon as you come back?" Qiu Yanba stared at Qiu Zhenjiao's face and suddenly thought of something. "Don't tell me you touched Su Qingsang. Who touched her?" Qiu Zhenjiao was furious at the mention of this. "All I did was pour a glass of wine on her. Why don't you ask her what she did to me?" Chapter 331. Qiu Yanba raised his arm and was about to slap Qiu Zhenjiao. Qiu Zhenjiao blushed at his action. "Qiu Yanba, are you my brother? Who are you helping? Your sister was wronged, but you didn't stand up for me. Now you want to hit me? I'm going to tell Dad." "Are you done?" Qiu Yanba was furious, but he didn't slap Su Qingsang. "Do you know that Hu Jingyao gave the Su family a project that our company had previously negotiated with him? Do you know how much that project cost? Do you know how much our company lost because of that glass of wine?" Qiu Zhenjiao was dumbfounded. She looked at Qiu Yanba and couldn't believe what he said. "Is Hu Jingyao crazy? How is that possible? She suddenly lifted the quilt and was about to get out of bed. "I'm going to look for him." "What are you looking for? What's the point of looking for him?" Qiu Yanba grabbed her arm. "I'm telling you, next time, stay away from Su Qingsang. Brother, get this straight. She bullied me too." Qiu Zhenjiao was furious. Qiu Yanba didn't want to reason with her. He raised his hand and made a one sign. "Just this once. Don't do it again." He had to go back to the company to deal with the aftermath. Looking at his sister, Qiu Yanba was really angry. Why couldn't she be more sensible and cause less trouble like Su Qingsang? Qiu Zhenjiao watched her brother leave. Not only did she not calm down, but she became even angrier. She punched the quilt angrily and decided that she couldn't just let it go like this. When Su Qingsang got home, she found that Xiang Saiping's eyes were even more swollen than when she left the house. She was shocked and wanted to ask Xiang Kaiping, but Xiang Kaiping didn't seem to want to talk about it. Su Qingsang didn't ask. After dinner, Su Qingsang sat with Xiang Kaiping for most of the day. She watched her knitting a sweater. She was very fast. In just a day's time, he had already finished knitting the bottom circle. "Mom, you're so fast." "Fast?" Xiang Kaiping picked it up and compared it with Su Qingsang. "I'm old. I used to move faster. It's okay. I have clothes." Su Qingsang glanced at the direction of the room. "Hu Jingyao bought a lot of clothes last time. He's so nice to you." "Yes." Su Qingsang nodded. Thinking of the fireworks yesterday, she still felt very happy. "Aren't you going to write that thesis? You can go. I'll watch TV here and knit. Then don't stay up too late. Rest early." "Okay." Xiang Kaiping looked at Su Qingsang and sighed inwardly. His daughter was so sensible and obedient. However, Su Qinghui treated her like this. Su Qingsang left the living room, but didn't go to the study. Instead, she went back to her bedroom. Hu Jingyao had already finished showering and was drying his hair. When he saw her come in, he sat down beside her and said, "Aren't you watching TV with Mom?" Su Qingsang shook her head. "Hu Jingyao, why do I feel that Mom's mood today is even worse than this morning?" She really wanted to ask what had happened. However, seeing that Xiang Kaiping did not want to talk about it, she could not bring herself to ask. "It's normal for her to be in a bad mood, because your father came to see her. How do you know?" Chapter 332. "I beg you. You can tell me now." Su Qingsang begged him, but Hu Jingyao shook his head. "Not sincere enough. I won't say it." "Hu Jingyao, look, this is not the attitude of begging." As Hu Jingyao spoke, he turned around to get the hairdryer. It's up to you. Do you think I don't know? Su Qingsang's temper flared up. My father came to see my mother, of course, not to divorce her and marry her. So why is my mother so sad? There's only one reason. What? Because of me. After saying these 3 words, Su Qingsang fell silent. Hua Jinyao couldn't bear to see her like this. He put the hairdryer in her hand and said, "Help me dry my hair." Meeting his understanding gaze, Su Qingsang stood up, pulled Hua Jinyao to sit down in front of the dressing table, turned on the hairdryer, and began to dry his hair. Her movements were very gentle, and so was her voice. Hua Jinyao could hear her very clearly in the low sound of the hairdryer. I actually understand what happened yesterday. My mother always felt that she owed me. She always felt that I hadn't lived a good life all these years. And looking at my father's attitude, she definitely couldn't stand it. I think my father must have gone to my mother to explain today, but my mother wouldn't listen. And she blamed him for neglecting me all these years. My mother probably thought too much of me, so she was sad for me. After saying this, she fell silent and focused on drying Hua Jinyao's hair. Hua Jinyao's hair had already been dried. He turned to look at her, suddenly took the hairdryer from her hand, turned it off, and put it aside. Then he pulled her body onto his lap and sat her down. I thought you didn't know. How is that possible? Su Qingsang shook her head. I think it's very simple. I can guess it. I thought you were going to say that it's because mother and daughter are connected that you know so well. It's really not. Su Qingsang shook her head again. I still don't have that kind of feeling for my mother. After all, we haven't lived together for so many years. But I know what happened to her, and I know that she wants me well now. I don't blame her, and I don't hate her. Hating people was too tiring. She didn't like hating people. What's more, she only lacked the love of her parents, which was much better than some orphans. Moreover, she had both parents now. Even without a father, she still had a mother. She suddenly put her arms around Hua Jinyao's neck and looked into his eyes. Hua Jinyao, let's be nicer to my mother in the future, okay? Okay. Hua Jinyao tightened his arms around her waist. Don't worry. Your mother is my mother. I will definitely be filial to her. Su Qingsang looked at him and suddenly leaned over to kiss him on the lips. Hua Jinyao. Su Qingsang rubbed her face against his chest and said, "It's so good to have you here." In fact, she knew a lot of things and understood a lot of principles. She could let go of many difficulties and unhappiness on her own. After all, after so many years, whether it was fair or not, he was already used to it. However, things were different now. She had Hua Jinyao by her side. With him around, it was as if all the unfairness and grievances in the past were nothing. She rubbed her face against his chest again and smelled the cool scent on his body. She only felt at ease. Hua Jinyao's chin rested on the top of her head. He smelled the faint fragrance on her body, and the corners of his lips curled up slightly. However, when he thought about what had happened in the past few days, his eyes suddenly narrowed. Honey, do you feel that there seems to be something wrong? Chapter 333. Hua Jinyao's eyes were deep. He was thinking about what had happened yesterday and what had happened before. Your father and Li Qianxue have been together for so many years, but they don't have a good relationship. Yesterday, your father was very excited to see your mother, which means that he can't forget her. But if that's the case, it doesn't make sense. What doesn't make sense? Su Qingsang raised her head and looked at him. What are you trying to say? Hua Jinyao felt that something was wrong when he saw Su Qinghui yesterday. Seeing Kaiping today made him feel even more strange. Look, if your father loves your mother, then it doesn't make sense for him to treat you, the child of the woman he loves the most. What doesn't make sense? Su Qingsang thought it made sense. No matter how much he loved my mother, it was all in the past. Think about it, how many years have passed? What's more, the Li family's power is right there. Even if he wants to be nice to me, he can't. Even if he wants to be nice to me, he has to care about the Li family, right? No, he didn't. If Su Qinghui was a person who cared about the Li family, then he and Li Qianxue wouldn't just maintain a respectful relationship on the surface. Moreover, his recent cooperation with the Li family had increased the opportunities for them to meet. He felt that Su Qinghui's attitude toward the Li family was definitely not a concern. In the Li family, even though Su Qinghui was only a general manager, his words carried a lot of weight. Moreover, Li Qianxue didn't seem to have any intention of competing with him for power. In many cases, Li Qianxue was just a figurehead, and Su Qinghui did the rest. If Su Qinghui wanted to care about Li Qianxue, then he wouldn't have the power he had today. Hua Jinyao narrowed his eyes and fell into thought. Somehow, he felt as if he had overlooked something crucial. What was it? A bold idea flashed through Hua Jinyao's mind. What's wrong? Su Qingsang found that Hua Jinyao's face was a little serious, so she couldn't help but raise her hand and wave it in front of his face. Hua Jinyao withdrew his gaze and met Su Qingsang's worried eyes. She interrupted his idea. Nothing. Maybe I'm overthinking. You're overthinking. Su Qingsang sighed. My father and my mother haven't seen each other for so many years. It's normal for them to be a little surprised when they meet again. I don't think it's suspicious. Maybe. Next, I just want to comfort my mother and make her live a happier life. As long as you're happy. Hua Jinyao thought of something else. In a few days, on the weekend, we'll take Mom to the villa for a couple of days. Or we can take your mom to walk around nearby. Sure. This was a good suggestion. She was getting on in years, and probably didn't want to go far. I don't think she likes going out at all, so she prefers to stay at home. Let's go somewhere nearby to play. After saying that, Su Qingsang got down from Hua Jinyao's body and searched for a suitable place to take Xiang Kaiping to. Hua Jinyao looked at her serious and focused face and curled up the corners of his lips. If something was wrong, then so be it. As long as he was here, no matter what happened in the future, he would always be able to protect her. His woman did not need to worry so much, as long as he was happy. When Su Peijian entered the room, she saw Li Qianxue sitting on the sofa with a cold expression on her face. Only when she saw Su Peijian come in did Li Qianxue smile a little. You're back? Chapter 334. Li Qianxue glanced upstairs with a slightly cold expression. Your father is upstairs. I don't know who pissed him off this time. He ran into the study without dinner and hasn't come out yet. Su Peijian looked at Li Qianxue and looked upstairs. I'm going to see Dad. Li Qianxue wanted to say no, but she waved her hand. Go ahead. If he's drunk, don't bother. Just ask Nanny Zhang to send someone up to send him back to his room. She was glad that the old man had been invited to go out and was not at home today. Otherwise, if he had seen Su Qinghui like that, he would have lectured him again. Su Peijian went upstairs. As soon as she opened the door of the study, she smelled alcohol. The smell made Su Peijian frown. She looked at Su Qinghui, who was sitting behind the desk. Dad? Are you okay? Su Qinghui drank some alcohol, but he wasn't drunk. After so many years, he never allowed himself to get drunk again. When he saw Su Peijian come in, he was stunned and put down the glass in his hand. Peijian, you're back. Yes. Su Peijian stepped forward and looked at the empty bottles on the table. She was a little dissatisfied. Dad, why did you drink so much? Don't worry. I'm not drunk. Su Qinghui sat up and looked at Su Peijian. She was different from Su Qingsang's gentle and beautiful face. Su Peijian's facial features were much more beautiful. She looked neither like herself nor her mother. He didn't know what went wrong, but Su Peijian actually looked like her grandmother. Back then, Su Qinghui's mother was a famous beauty in the surrounding area. Su Peijian's facial features were like her grandmother's, extremely bright and beautiful. Dad, what's the matter at the company? Su Peijian was originally helping out in the company, but she had been in a bad mood because of the broken engagement with Qiu Yanba. She hadn't been to work for several days. Nothing. Dad will solve the problem. Su Qinghui sat up and looked at Su Peijian. He suddenly reached out and held her hand. Peijian, do you blame me? Dad, what are you talking about? Why would I blame you? Because Su Qinghui was stunned and suddenly shook his head. I asked you to apologize to Qingsang. Do you blame me? Nope. It's not your fault. Su Qingsang and Hua Jinyao were to blame. Taking advantage of their power to bully others was too much. As long as you don't blame me. Su Qinghui seemed relieved. He He didn't let go of her hand. Instead, he tightened his grip. Peijian, don't worry. In the future, be it the Su family or the Li family, they will all be yours. Dad, what are you talking about? Su Peijian was confused by her father's words. I have a younger brother. Don't tell me you're drunk. Your brother? Su Qinghui narrowed his eyes and suddenly fell silent. Dad is drunk. Go and rest. It's fine now. Oh. Su Peijian felt that something was wrong, but she guessed that Su Qinghui was drunk. Dad, you should rest early too. I'll go back to my room first. Yes. Su Qinghui nodded and suddenly thought of something. By the way, during this period you... What? Nothing. Su Qinghui knew his daughter's personality very well. The more he told her not to do something, the more she would do it. Thinking about it this way, he didn't have to think about asking Su Peijian not to cause trouble for Qingsang. Maybe the more he said, the more she would cause trouble for Su Qingsang. Chapter 335. Dad, I'm fine. It was just a man. She could always let it go. She just couldn't forgive Su Qingsang for making Qiu Yanba change his mind. That's good. That's good. Su Peijian felt that her father was a little strange. Dad, are you really okay? I'm fine. Go rest. Su Qinghui's voice sounded tired. Su Peijian turned to leave. When she reached the door, she suddenly stopped. By the way, Dad, Maishin said she wanted to go to Japan for a hot spring. How about I go with her for a few days? Okay. You'll have a companion together. Tell me if you need money. Su Peijian really felt that there was something wrong with Su Qinghui. Dad, did you forget? I have money. Yes. You have money. Su Qinghui waved his hand as if he was tired. Su Peijian closed the door, and the study returned to silence. Su Qinghui poured himself another glass of wine. He thought that he was not wrong. In the end, Li Qianxue was still a little worried. She went upstairs and found that Su Qinghui had fallen asleep on the chair. There were at least 4 or 5 empty bottles on the table, and one of them had fallen on the ground. Li Qianxue looked at Su Qinghui's face for a long time, then turned to leave. She went back to the room and brought back a blanket, covering Su Qinghui just like that. The study was air-conditioned, so it wasn't cold. Her movement didn't wake Su Qinghui up. When she covered him with the blanket and was about to leave, she heard Su Qinghui murmur a few words. Li Qianxue stopped and stood still again. This time, she heard clearly that Su Qinghui said, I'm not wrong. I'm not wrong. Wrong. What was wrong? Li Qianxue frowned slightly, and her exquisite makeup showed a hint of contemplation. When Hua Jinyao came back from morning exercise, Su Qingsang had just woken up. She hadn't gotten up yet, and was playing with her phone on the bed. When she saw him come in, she turned over and half propped herself up to look at Hua Jinyao. I looked around. The scenery of Little West Lake is good. I've been there before, but in recent years, some of the gardens that weren't open before have been opened again. We should go and have a look. You decide. I've checked. It only takes 2 hours to drive there. That way, my mom won't be too tired. That Little West Lake was 2 hours away from downtown Lin City. Because of the beautiful scenery, it was called Little West Lake. Su Qingsang had been there once, when she was in university. Sounds good. Hua Jinyao sat down by the bed. You decide. Yes. That's settled then. Actually, isn't it New Year's Day in 2 days? Do you want to go somewhere far away? Hua Jinyao had a good suggestion. For example, take your mother to Japan for a hot spring or something. What do you think? Japan? Su Qingsang felt that it was a bit far. I don't think that's necessary. It was too far away. And I don't even know if my mom has a passport. Leave the passport to me. I'll handle it for mom. I just think that since your mother is from Lin City, she probably won't be interested in these places. I think going to Japan is a good idea. Soak in a hot spring. When the time comes, you women should go shopping. Isn't that good? Then I'll ask my mom. Let's see if she wants to go. In fact, Su Qingsang also thought that it was better to let Xiang Kaiping go. She was actually a little afraid that Su Qinghui would come looking for her again. It didn't matter if it happened once or twice, but if it happened too many times, she was afraid that it would attract Li Qianxue's attention. Although she wasn't afraid of trouble, she would try to avoid it as much as possible. Chapter 336. Hua Jingyao knew what she was thinking just by looking at her face. He leaned over and kissed her on the lips. Honey, just do what you like. Leave everything else to me. With him around, no one in Lin City would dare to touch Su Qingsang. If there was any trouble, he would not be afraid. To Su Qingsang and Hua Jinyao's surprise, Xiang Kaiping did not object. She also had a passport. That's settled then. Go to Japan. Su Qingsang was very happy to think about going out to play. My research project is almost done. There are a few more interns in the hospital these days. It's okay to take 2 days off. Why don't we pack up and leave the day after tomorrow? Will it be too late? Xiang Kaiping glanced at Hua Jinyao. Jinyao, you have a lot of things to do in the company, right? You guys go ahead. Hua Jinyao looked at Su Qingsang and winked at her. I still have something to do in the company. You guys go ahead. I'll come 2 days later. Okay. Su Qingsang almost immediately understood what Hua Jinyao meant. Xiang Kaiping hadn't been with her all these years. She probably wanted to spend more time with her. Although Xiang Kaiping asked Hua Jinyao, she was happy because of his words. It was good for her to spend time alone with Su Qingsang and cultivate their mother-daughter relationship. Hua Jinyao entered the company and called Yang Wenchang. Help me make the arrangements. 2 plane tickets to Japan the day after tomorrow. Then make arrangements for the reception staff there. After giving orders to Yang Wenchang and taking care of some work, the secretary said that someone was looking for him. Hua Jinyao heard the secretary's message and refused directly. I won't see you. President Hua. Qiu Zhenjiu heard that Hua Jinyao didn't want to see her, so she barged into Hua Jinyao's office. President Hua, our 2 companies are working together. It doesn't seem appropriate for you to keep me 1,000 miles away, does it? Hua Jinyao frowned because of Qiu Zhenjiu's sudden intrusion. He looked at Yang Wenchang and waved his hand, signaling him to leave. Miss Qiu, we are working with your company. It's not you. I have no business to discuss with you, so it doesn't matter if it's appropriate or not. Qiu Zhenjiu was angry. President Hua, what are you doing? Are you taking advantage of your power to bully others? Hua Jinyao rubbed his chin with one hand and nodded. Yes, I'm a bully. You have a problem with that? Qiu Zhenjiu's face turned green. President Hua, isn't it a little too ungentlemanly for you to bully a woman like this? Manners also depends on who you're talking to. For some people who don't want face, there's no need. President Hua, don't forget that our 2 companies are working together. How could he humiliate her like this? Didn't he consider the feelings of his partner? Yes. I also want to remind Miss Cho not to forget. Our 2 families are cooperating now. Hua Jinyao's voice carried a hint of warning. His lips curled into a mocking smile. The Chiu family wasn't the only company in Lin City that could do this kind of project. If Miss Cho still doesn't understand the situation, then I can only use another method to remind Miss Cho to pay attention to her identity and bearing. Qiu Zhenjiu was so angry that she couldn't speak. She nodded her head vigorously and said, Okay. President Hua was indeed unreasonable. No wonder he married an illegitimate daughter for some shameful reason. Chapter 337. What? Qiu Zhenjiu took a deep breath. What? Are you playing dumb now, President Hua? Do you really think I don't know why you married Su Qingsang? Hua Jinyao leaned back in his chair and glanced at Qiu Zhenjiu's face coldly. What are you trying to say, Miss Qiu? I'm saying that you married Su Qingsang for some unspeakable reason. Qiu Zhenjiu looked at Hua Jinyao and thought of Qiu Yanba's warning to her. She was furious. President Hua, you have a great status and style. You are furious because of your beauty. You gave up the collaboration with our company to someone else, just because Su Qingsang. You are so nice to Su Qingsang. Isn't it because you feel guilty? Why would I feel guilty? Hua Jinyao's gaze turned cold as he stared at Qiu Zhenjiu. Miss Qiu, I sincerely hope that you will watch your words and actions. After all, if you cause trouble for the Qiu family, I'm afraid that even your brother and father will not be able to handle it. Don't be in a hurry to threaten me. Qiu Zhenjiu was furious. She looked at Hua Jinyao's gloomy face coldly. I heard some interesting gossip when I went to Rong City last time. Given your status, President Hua, I'm sure you don't care to know such gossip, right? Hua Jinyao narrowed his eyes. His handsome face flashed with coldness. What are you trying to say, Miss Chiu? I know that you have not signed a contract with Li Corporation for that project. I want to say that this project should be given to the Chiu family. Hua Jinyao stared at Chiu Zhenjiao's face and suddenly stood up. He walked around the desk and stood in front of Chiu Zhenjiao. Chiu Zhenjiao looked at him with a playful and provocative smile. Hua Jinyao suddenly reached out and grabbed her neck. Chiu Zhenjiao, right? Do you know what I hate the most in my life? He tightened his grip and said in a voice even colder than before. I hate being threatened the most in my life. Choked by him, Chiu Zhenjiao could no longer breathe. Her face was flushed, and she stared at Hua Jinyao with wide eyes in disbelief. You dare. There's nothing I don't dare to do. Hua Jinyao sneered. His eyes were cold, sharp, and vicious. I don't have the habit of hitting women, but if I were to strangle you right now and throw you out of this window, when the time comes, do you think others will believe you if you say that you failed to woo me and committed suicide by jumping off a building? Chiu Zhenjiao was frightened by him. Her entire face turned pale. You can't, you lunatic. It's good that you know. Hua Jinyao let go of her. Chiu Zhenjiao's body went limp, and she fell to the ground. He looked down at her coughing nonstop and said coldly, Miss Chiu, let me remind you. If I were you, I would behave myself and keep a low profile. You also said that our two families are working together. Since we're working together, it's better not to cause trouble for the other party. Don't even think about the previous project. If you know your place, don't mess with my wife, and don't mess with me. In future projects, we may have more opportunities to cooperate. As he spoke, Hua Jinyao squatted down and stared at Chiu Zhenjiao's face. Miss Chiu is such a smart person, you should know how to choose, right? Chiu Zhenjiao took a long time to recover. When she looked at Hua Jinyao again, she felt as if she was looking at a demon from hell. Chapter 338. Chiu Zhenjiao quickly stood up. Her hands and feet were a little weak. She nodded repeatedly. I got it. Please. Hua Jinyao took a step back with a calm face. Remember to say hello to Mr. Chiu for me. Chiu Zhenjiao nodded and left as if she was escaping. After she left, Hua Jinyao straightened his clothes and returned to his seat to deal with the rest of the work calmly. When Su Qingseng came out of the hospital, she saw Hua Jinyao waiting for her with a bouquet of roses in a very high-profile way. She was shocked. She looked around and found that many people were looking in his direction. She was embarrassed. What are you doing? Su Qingseng quickly walked forward and wanted to push him into the car immediately. I'm picking you up from work. Hua Jinyao smiled brightly and put the bouquet of roses in front of Su Qingseng. Flowers for a beauty. Why are you giving me flowers? Su Qingseng took the roses from his hand. What day is it? Can't I give you flowers if it's not a special day? Hua Jinyao put his arms around her waist. Honey, it's not good for you to think like that. Su Qingseng stepped back a little and stared at Hua Jinyao's face. There was a touch of playfulness on her beautiful face. Really? Why do I feel that being unaccountably solicitous is a thief? Honey. Hua Jinyao looked at Su Qingseng deeply. There was a flash of hurt in his eyes. Do you have so little confidence in yourself? All right, I'm joking. Su Qingseng bravely leaned forward and kissed him on the chin. Thank you. I like it very much. They got in the car, and Hua Jinyao told her about his arrangements. The plane tickets have been booked. The day after tomorrow morning. The itinerary is also arranged. When you get there will be a tour guide who understands Chinese with you. Okay. Su Qingseng looked at Hua Jinyao with obvious gratitude in her eyes. Thank you. Hua Jinyao smiled and his eyes were obviously happy. You're welcome. I'll personally receive the gift tonight. Su Qingseng blushed again. Hua Jinyao couldn't be serious for more than 3 minutes. Li Qianxue looked at Su Qinghui's assistant and gently knocked on the table. Are you sure he hasn't been acting strangely recently? No. The assistant shook his head. President Su has been busy with the cooperation project with Tianyu Group recently. Originally, one of them was given to the Chou family, but it was given to Tianyu, so Mr. Su has been very busy recently. Li Qianxue didn't say anything. In front of her, was the financial report of the Li Group for the latest quarter. The increasing figures on the report also proved Su Qinghui's ability. A few days ago, a few downstream partners invited Mr. Su to a meal. But this kind of meal is very common. The assistant arranged the dinner and left after showing up. Therefore, he didn't know that Su Qinghui had left first. You can leave first. Li Qianxue felt that something was wrong. By the way, if anything happens to President Su, remember to let me know. Yes. The assistant had been trained by old Master Li. Later, because Su Qinghui had no one he could use, he gave it to him. After going to Su Qinghui's side, he could be considered to have helped Su Qinghui wholeheartedly. But occasionally, Li Qianxue would call him to ask some unimportant things. Naturally, he also knew not to offend either side. He knew what could be said and what couldn't be said. Because of this, Su Qinghui had kept this assistant. Chapter 339. Li Qianxue stared at the financial statement and thought about Su Qinghui's performance over the past 2 decades. Putting aside the fact that he didn't love her and had never touched her, he was almost a good husband. He didn't fool around and didn't fool around. He worked hard and was very resourceful. More importantly, Su Qinghui had never sought any benefits that didn't belong to him. He had no extra expenses in the past few years, except for normal social activities and normal expenses. Also, for so many years, Su Qinghui had never used his position in the Li's group to do anything shameful. What he was getting now was what he deserved through his hard work, normal dividends and salary. She used to worry that Su Qinghui would marry her and agree to be with her to get revenge. Maybe he would do something to the Li group. However, Su Qinghui didn't. Not only did he not, but he also worked hard to bring the Li group to a higher level. As time went by, not only did old Master Li admire him more and more, even she began to relax and no longer had the doubts she had at the beginning. Li Qianxue rubbed her eyebrows and comforted herself. Maybe she had heard wrong that day. Or maybe Su Qinghui was dreaming. Su Qinghui hadn't shown anything wrong for more than 20 years. She thought she might be overthinking. Su Qingsang and Xiang Kaiping got on the plane. Hua Jinyao sent them to the airport early that morning. It wasn't the first time Xiang Kaiping had gone abroad, but it was the first time she felt so excited. Qingsang, have you been to Japan? No. Su Qingsang shook her head and looked at the excitement and expectation on Xiang Kaiping's face. It's my first time too. I've actually been there once. Xiang Kaiping thought of the time when she started her own business. I had a lot of employees at that time. Some of them did well, and the company decided to reward them. They were asked to travel abroad. I went with them a few times. Mom, the benefits in your company are so good. Su Qingsang held her hand and was getting used to being close to Xiang Kaiping. You've been there already. Is it not fresh? How can it be? Xiang Kaiping shook her head. We didn't know anything at that time. We went around and didn't know anything. Then you have to have fun this time, Mom. Let go. Sure. Xiang Kaiping patted Su Qingsang's hand. As long as I'm with you, I'll be happy even if I don't have to play. Mom. Su Qingsang was touched. She put her face on Xiang Kaiping's shoulder. All right. It will take some time to fly to Japan. You should sleep for a while. Shall I ask the stewardess to bring you a blanket? It's okay, I'll do it myself. You should also rest for a while. Xiang Kaiping was touched by her daughter's thoughtfulness. She was more and more glad that she had impulsively chosen to come to Lin City to acknowledge Su Qingsang. Otherwise, how could they have had such a reunion? 2 days later, Xiang Kaiping and Su Qingsang checked into a famous hot spring hotel in Nagoya. The environment here was elegant and peaceful. According to the tour guide, the guests had to be booked a long time in advance. They were very lucky to be able to come. Su Qingsang and Xiang Kaiping looked at each other and smiled. They were both quite satisfied with Hua Jinyao's arrangement, especially after seeing the rooms inside, as well as the hot spring room at the back. Xiang Kaiping really felt that her daughter had a good taste in men, much better than her. After looking around with his companion, the two of them returned to their room. Chapter 340. This time, Su Peijian was accompanying Luo Meishan and Song Yoha. so all the itinerary was arranged by them. When they arrived at the hot spring hotel, Su Peijian finally smiled. I've been to this hot spring hotel before. The environment isn't bad. Su Peijian glanced at Qiu Junjiu. This trip had nothing to do with Qiu Junjiu, but for some reason, when she heard that they were going to Japan, she asked to come along. In order to wait for her, they even set off a day later. However, when he stepped out of the house, he realized that Qiu Junjiu had been daydreaming for some reason. Junjiao, what's wrong? Although it was impossible for Su Peijian and Qiu Yanba to be together, she and Qiu Junjiu had been friends for many years. She showed concern on her face. Nothing. Qiu Junjiu was a little annoyed. She was really frightened by Hu Jingyao that day. She didn't recover for 2 or 3 days. The feeling of being so close to the Grim Reaper and thinking that he was really going to die was really terrible. She had suffered such a big loss, but she couldn't do anything to Hu Jingyao. Even Qiu Yanba had told her not to go against Su Qingseng. Listen to this. Is this what a brother is saying to his sister? Wasn't it just for a project? Hu Jingyao could give the project to someone else for Su Qingseng's sake. Why did Qiu Yanba only ask her to endure? If there's nothing else, let's go back to the room. Put your luggage down. You can take your time to read the rest. Su Peijian's patience had never been very good. This group of people would travel with a lot of luggage. In the past, people would help her with these things. But this time, because a few of her friends came out together, she had to do it herself. The others didn't have any objections. After completing the procedures, they returned to their rooms to rest. The hot spring hotel only had 2 floors. There were not many rooms, but each and every one of them was very elegant. Su Qingseng and Xiang Saiping's room was on the 2nd floor. From there, they could see a small garden at the back. Behind the garden was the hot spring. Every hot spring pool was surrounded and divided into 2 areas for men and women. Mom, do you want to rest for a while? If you don't want to rest, we'll go down to eat. We'll soak in the hot spring tonight. There's no need to rest. We've been in the car for so long this afternoon. You should be hungry. Let's go eat something, then come back for the hot spring. Yeah. Su Qingseng nodded. Japan was not a big place. Although it was a long drive, it was actually not tiring. The 2 of them casually packed up their things and went downstairs. At the same time, Su Peijian and the others had returned to their respective rooms. Su Qingseng and Xiang Kaiping went to have dinner together. Then they went to the hot spring pool that they had booked beforehand. The surroundings were so quiet that Su Qingseng could only hear the sound of their movements in the small pool. Xiang Kaiping looked at Su Qingseng. Ever since she came, she had felt that Su Qingseng was too thin. Now that the mother and daughter were soaking in the hot spring with so little clothes on, they realized that their daughter wasn't skinny at all. She had all the places that were supposed to have flesh, and she actually looked very voluptuous. Fortunately, it wasn't like her. She had the typical petite figure of a southern woman. She was a little thin and not voluptuous. Mom, what are you looking at? Su Qingseng turned around and found that Xiang Kaiping had been staring at her. Even though she was her own mother, she still felt shy being stared at like that. Chapter 341. Yes. Su Qingseng glanced at her phone. She hadn't received Hu Jinyao's call today. Maybe he's busy. Xiang Kaiping had learned a little about Hu Jinyao's identity. He was indeed very busy. He often had to work overtime, socialize, and deal with a lot of things. Speaking of which, you've been married for half a year, right? Do you plan to have children? Xiang Kaiping didn't think that having children would make a marriage stronger. But Su Qingseng was over 25 years old. At this age, it was the best time to have a child. No. Su Qingseng shook her head. Her smile was a little unnatural. It's still early. There's no rush. Ever since Hu Jingyao found out that she was taking birth control pills, he had been taking precautions. That was the tacit understanding between them. They both felt that it wasn't a good time to have children. Since that was the case, they would have children later. Seeing her like that, Xiang Kaiping suddenly thought of a possibility. Qingseng, you don't want children because of my relationship with your father, do you? Of course not. Su Qingseng denied without thinking. I just feel that I'm still young and don't want to have children so soon. Xiang Kaiping glanced at her and didn't say anything, but she knew that Su Qingseng wasn't telling the truth. She must have done it because of her, because Su Qingseng felt that she was an illegitimate daughter. Her biological father treated her like that, and she as a mother wasn't by her side before. Xiang Kaiping felt a little sad. She didn't know where to start. She lowered her head and covered the tears in her eyes with the heat of the hot spring. Su Qingseng didn't know if Xiang Kaiping believed her. She wanted to explain more, but Xiang Kaiping already looked up at her with a faint smile. This hot spring is quite comfortable. Didn't the waiter say there was scented tea? I want to have a drink. Do you want one? Let me get it. Su Qingseng got up to serve Xiang Kaiping the scented tea as she spoke. Seeing that Xiang Kaiping believed her, she didn't mention it for a while. Although it was comfortable to soak in the hot spring, they couldn't stay in it forever. Xiang Kaiping was used to going to bed early, so they got up early and went back to their room to rest. Not long after they returned to their room, Su Peijian and the others left their room to soak in the hot spring. Xiang Kaiping went to bed early, but Su Qingseng couldn't fall asleep. In the past 2 days, Hua Jingyao would call her every day, but today, so much time had passed, and Hua Jingyao hadn't contacted her. Su Qingseng turned over and found that it was almost 11 o'clock at night. If Hua Jingyao didn't call, she would go to bed. As soon as she thought that, her phone screen lit up. Looking at Hua Jingyao's name on the screen, Su Qingseng quickly turned off the volume. She turned around and found that Xiang Kaiping was still asleep. She quickly got up and went to the bathroom with her phone. You picked up the phone so quickly? What? Didn't you sleep? I was just about to sleep. Su Qingseng's voice unconsciously softened. What about you? Why are you so late? I'm working overtime. In fact, Hua Jingyao had said that he would go to Japan, but after he returned to Rong City, he was entangled with a lot of things. He was still working overtime in the company. I wanted to come to Japan to look for you, but I might not be able to come so soon. It's okay. I'm having a good time with my mom. If you're going to work, you don't have to come. We'll come back on our own in a few days. Su Qingseng could understand that work was more important, but she was more or less disappointed. Chapter 342. Hua Jingyao really didn't have time these days. Not only because of the company's business. Hua Yifan and Hua Yang had been restless during this period. He wasn't afraid of them, but Hua Mingguang liked those 2 nephews and always gave them opportunities again and again. Then have fun. Go where and what you want to do. Talk to that girl directly. I know I will. Su Qingseng heard that Hua Jingyao sounded a little tired. Are you very tired? I think your voice is a little hoarse. You have to rest. Don't tire yourself out. Thank you for your concern, wife. I will. Hua Jingyao looked at the time as he spoke. It was exactly 11 o'clock. He suddenly said, Happy New Year. What? Tomorrow is New Year's Day. Japan is an hour earlier than China, so it should be New Year's Day now. Happy New Year. Su Qingseng was stunned. It was so quiet here that she had forgotten. Today was the last day of the year. Happy New Year to you too. Hua Jingyao seemed to be very satisfied. I should be the first person to say hello to you in the new year, right? Yes. Su Qingseng nodded. Do you want me to call you at 12 and be the first person to say hello to you? No need. Go to bed early. Otherwise, how can you have the energy to play tomorrow? Okay. He was always so considerate. Su Qingseng really felt warm in her heart. Hua Jingyao saw Yang Wenchang come in with a document with a serious expression. He made a gesture and spoke to Su Qingseng on the other end of the phone in a very low voice. It's getting late. You should rest. Okay. You too. After hanging up, the gentleness on Hua Jingyao's face completely disappeared. He stared at Yang Wenchang with burning eyes. How's the investigation going? Is there any result? Yang Wenchang took a few steps forward and put the document in front of Hua Jingyao. President Hua, I've already checked, but there seems to be some discrepancy. What discrepancy? Take a look first. You'll know after reading it. Hua Jingyao took the document from his hand. After casually flipping through a few pages, his eyes suddenly became sharp. President Hua, Yang Wenchang was a little nervous by his expression. Hua Jinyao waved his hand and said, "Go do something for me." Yang Wenchang listened to his instructions, nodded, then turned around and left. Hua Jinyao turned around and looked at the night sky outside the window. His eyes were deep. Su Qingseng went to bed soon after receiving Hua Jinyao's call. Early in the morning, she followed Xiang Kaiping out to eat the specialty noodles of a nearby noodle restaurant. After they finished eating, they listened to the tour guide introduce the fun places nearby. Su Qingseng nodded. Just as she was about to get into the car, she remembered that she had forgotten to bring her phone. "I'm going back to get my phone." Su Qingseng glanced at her companions and Xiang Kaiping. "Wait for me here. I'll be down soon. Do you want me to accompany you?" "I can go get it for you." "Mom, I'm not a kid. I'm crossing a road with a cell phone. Wait for me. I'll be there soon." Su Qingseng hurriedly ran into the hotel room to get her phone. When she came out, she was in a hurry. She closed the door and walked downstairs. At the same time, someone just turned the corner and walked in her direction. The person's footsteps were not fast, but Su Qingseng's were. As a result, they bumped into each other. Su Qingseng took 2 steps back. Before she could steady herself, she heard a somewhat unhappy female voice. Chapter 343. Do you know how to walk? The sharp voice spoke in Japanese. Su Qingseng didn't understand the first sentence. Her English was good, but she had never learned Japanese. She couldn't understand the language, so she instinctively apologized in English. When he raised his head, he saw an extremely familiar face. "It's you." Qiu Junjiu thought of Hua Jinyao's murderous expression the other day when she saw Su Qingseng. She had never been humiliated like that, nor had she been frightened like that. And all of this was brought to her by Su Qingseng. Qiu Junjiu had planned to let it go and not bring it up again. She didn't expect to meet Su Qingseng here, which reminded her of old and new grudges. His eyes swept over Su Qingseng. Because she was going out to play, Su Qingseng was wearing very casual clothes. She was wearing sneakers and jeans and a red sweater. The outfit made Su Qingseng look 2 or 3 years younger than usual. He looked like a fresh graduate of a university. Qiu Junjiu narrowed her eyes. She looked at Su Qingseng with displeasure and jealousy. Su Qingseng didn't expect to meet this group of people in Japan. They were all here today: Su Peijian, Qiu Junjiu, Luo Meishan and Song Yoha. She saw them, and they saw her. The air seemed to freeze for a moment. Su Qingseng blinked and looked at Su Peijian, who was walking behind Qiu Junjiu. She nodded slightly as a greeting. After greeting them, she thought that Xiang Kaiping was still waiting for her, so she prepared to leave. "Stop!" Qiu Junjiu suddenly called out to Su Qingseng. Su Qingseng stopped and looked at Qiu Junjiu. Qiu Junjiu was looking at her too, with obvious displeasure in her eyes. Su Qingseng felt that her life hadn't changed, but it was hard for the others to get used to the change in her identity. What goes around comes around. This woman, who was once looked down upon and ignored by this group of people, who was almost like a weed, was now suddenly above them. Even if Su Qingseng didn't do anything, the change in her identity was enough to make Qiu Junjiu and the others uncomfortable. "Is there anything else?" Su Qingseng was in a hurry to find Xiang Kaiping. It was New Year's Day, the first day of the year. She was afraid that there would be too many people going to other places if she was late. Yes. When Qiu Junjiu saw Su Qingseng, she thought of herself being strangled by Hua Jinyao. "You bumped into me. Shouldn't you apologize?" Su Qingseng was too lazy to tell her that she had already said sorry. Instead, he nodded. "Sorry, I didn't pay attention to the road." She spoke with sincerity, but Qiu Junjiu only felt that she was being careless. Yes, he wasn't paying attention to where he was going. Now your position is different. If you can walk sideways, how can you see the road with your nostrils facing up? Su Qingseng's brows furrowed slightly when she heard what he said. He moved his lips, and was about to retort when he remembered that Xiang Kaiping was still waiting for him. He raised his eyebrows slightly. "Are you done? Can I go now?" Qiu Junjiu was angered by Su Qingseng's indifferent attitude. "Su Qingseng, what are you so proud of? What are you so proud of? How could she be so smug?" Su Qingsang didn't understand. Looking at the situation in front of him, he didn't want to waste any more time. Chapter 344. Illegitimate daughter? Su Qingsang raised her eyebrows slightly. Yes, I'm just an illegitimate daughter. Are you done? If you are, please make way. I'm not done. Xiao Zhenjiao blocked her way. Can't I? Su Qingsang had wanted to just leave. But looking at the situation in front of her, she couldn't leave right away. Her gaze fell on the 4 women in front of her. The corridor was only so big. With them blocking the corridor, she couldn't leave even if she wanted to. No. Su Qingsang looked at Xiao Zhenjiao impolitely. I'm busy now. I don't have time to listen to you. You said that I bumped into you. And I apologized. You're not hurt. So I can't think of any reason for me to stand here and listen to you. Xiao Zhenjiao blinked. Her usually arrogant face changed several times. She couldn't believe that Su Qingsang dared to argue with her so directly. You. Sorry, please make way. Ignoring the 4 women blocking her way, Su Qingsang walked past them and went outside. Xiao Zhenjiao was furious. Su Peijian, who had been silent all this time, grabbed Su Qingsang's arm when she walked past her. Su Qingsang stopped and turned to look at her. Xiao Zhenjiao was also looking at her. Their eyes met. Su Qingsang raised her eyebrows inquiringly, but Su Peijian was unhappy. Su Qingsang, I really can't tell that you're like this when you're in power. You disguised yourself so well when you were in the Su family. So well that Su Peijian couldn't tell that Su Qingsang was a fox with sharp claws, not an innocent little rabbit. You're wrong. I'm not pretending. I'm not in power now. Growing up in that kind of environment, if she still wanted to be high profile, it would be even more difficult for her. She understood. She tried to pull her hand out, but Su Peijian held it tightly, which made her frown uncomfortably. Isn't it in power to marry Hu Jiniao? What does it mean to be in power? Su Qingsang, you weren't like this in the past. Su Peijian squeezed Su Qingsang's arm slightly, not letting her break free. Do you know what you were like in the past? As she spoke, Su Peijian moved closer to Su Qingsang's face. I think you're too arrogant and proud now. Have you forgotten how pitiful you used to be? Su Peijian, let me go. Su Qingsang's other hand clenched, trying to restrain herself. I'll let you go. I just wanted to remind you. No matter how arrogant you are, how proud you are, how cocky you are, you can't hide the fact that you have. You can't hide the fact that you've never been loved or cared for since you were young. You're a pitiful worm. Are you done? Su Qingsang's expression changed slightly. If you're done, then let me go. I'm not done. The calmer Su Qingsang was the angrier Su Peijian became. Su. Spe Su Peijian more. Su Qingsang. Why could Su Qingsang marry Hu Jiniao and make Qiu Yanba miss her so much? If Su Qingsang hadn't married Hu Jiniao, if she had still been a pitiful illegitimate daughter that no one cared about, why would Qiu Yanba even spare a glance at her? Do you remember? You cried and called me mom. You wanted to call her mom too. But my mom ignored you. What happened to you? You were crying in your room, weren't you? Right? Chapter 345. Ever since I was young, you could only watch Yusen, and I enjoy motherly and fatherly love. What about you? What about you? Have you forgotten that your mother didn't want you and abandoned you? My father didn't like you and didn't want you. If my mother didn't pity you, you would have been thrown out of the Su family. If I had kept you in the Su family, you would have been thrown out long ago and died in some corner of the world. Why are you being so arrogant in front of us? Xiao Zhenjiao finally heaved a sigh of relief. Luo Meishan and Song Yoha watched the scene in front of them without saying a word. However, the 3 of them had the same satisfaction in their eyes. They were watching a good show. Su Peijian. Su Qingsang didn't care about the others. Her eyes, which had always been clear and indifferent, were cold at this time. Are you done? Not enough. Su Peijian had been holding back her anger. She just wanted to vent it. Let me tell you, you are not only an illegitimate daughter. Your mother is a mistress. No matter how arrogant you are, you can't hide the fact that your mother is a mistress. Su Qingsang took a deep breath and raised her hand to slap Su Peijian's face. However, A hand was faster than her. The slap not only shocked Su Peijian and the others, but also Su Qingsang. Her hand hadn't fallen yet. She turned around and found Xiang Kaiping was there. She didn't know how long she had been listening, but her face was red. Her hand was still in the air, and her breathing was heavy. Her wrinkled eyes stared at Su Peijian with hatred. Although she wasn't young, she had suffered a lot. The slap was hurried fast and hard. Su Peijian didn't have time to react before she was hit. There was an obvious five-finger mark on her face. Su Peijian was dumbfounded by the immense pain on her face. She stared at the woman who had appeared out of nowhere. "You, who do you think you are? How dare you hit me?" She had focused all her attention on Su Qingsang last time, and had only glanced at Xiang Kaiping. She felt that she looked familiar but couldn't remember. Luo Meishan and Song Yoha remembered. Wasn't this woman the one who tried on clothes with Su Qingsang last time? Xiang Kaiping was a little anxious when she didn't see Su Qingsang. Although they were in the hotel, it was impossible for anything to happen. However, as a mother who had been separated from her daughter for many years, she couldn't help but feel worried. Therefore, after waiting for a few minutes and not seeing Su Qingsang, she informed her companion and came up to look for Su Qingsang. However, she didn't expect to hear Su Peijian's voice before she went upstairs. Every word she said was like a needle that pierced Xiang Kaiping's heart. Her heart ached so much that she couldn't breathe. Unbeknownst to her, her daughter had been ignored by her biological father and looked down upon by her half-sister. Being put in a difficult position by his biological father's spouse, she had been hiding in Rong City all this time. She had always thought that Su Qinghui would take good care of her daughter and treat her daughter well. How big of a mistake had she made? The self-blame that she had already suppressed crushed her once again. She felt that she was unforgivable. She even felt that no matter what she did in this life, she would never be able to make it up to Su Qingsang. Her mind was full of thoughts about what she would do in the future and how to make it up to Su Qingsang. She heard Su Peijian say that she was a mistress. Chapter 346. Xiang Kaiping had slapped Su Peijian very hard. She still felt that it was not enough. "Who do you think you are? Ha!" Xiang Kaiping was not as gentlemanly as Su Qingsang. She grabbed Su Peijian without thinking. Her eyes were unprecedentedly gloomy. "Who do you think you are? What right do you have to scold my daughter? What happened to your upbringing? Is this what your parents taught you?" "You." Su Peijian's face was still hurting. She couldn't even cover her face when Xiang Kaiping grabbed her. She just looked at the woman and understood the meaning behind her words. Her daughter? Who? Su Qingsang? How did Su Qingsang become her daughter? Before Su Peijian could think it through, Xiang Kaiping couldn't bear it anymore. She couldn't let it go. The emotions that had been stuck in her heart for so many years seemed to have an outlet. She grabbed Su Peijian's hand and didn't let her break free. "Who are you calling a mistress? Who do you think is a mistress? Let me tell you, I'm not a mistress. The mistress is your mother. Your mother, Li Qianxue, is the mistress. She stole my man. She shamelessly set up your father and had sex with him. That's how they got married." Su Peijian had never heard of this. She widened her eyes and looked at Xiang Kaiping in shock. "You're talking nonsense." "I'm talking nonsense. You can go home and ask Li Qianxue. Who is the mistress? Who shamelessly stole someone else's man?" Xiang Kaiping shook off Su Peijian's hand and took a deep breath. She turned to Su Qingsang. "Qingsang, are you okay?" Su Qingsang shook her head gently. "Mom, I'm fine." She stepped forward to help Xiang Kaiping. Her eyes were complicated. She was very happy that Xiang Kaiping was standing up for her. However, she was a little worried. She had spent a lot of time to stop Xiang Kaiping from thinking about what had happened to her. After Su Peijian's antics, Xiang Kaiping's self-blame and discomfort would probably not go away for a long time. Qiu Junjiu and the others were stunned by the scene in front of them. Everyone else looked at Xiang Kaiping and her daughter blankly. Even Qiu Junjiu, who was usually sharp-tongued, was shocked by this turn of events. "That's good." Xiang Kaiping couldn't take this lying down. She turned around abruptly and glared at Su Peijian. Miss Su, I'm warning you. There are people who want Qingsang. She is my most precious daughter. In the future, please watch your words. If there is a next time, I won't be polite. After saying that, she took Su Qingsang's hand and was about to leave. Su Qingsang pulled her hand back, patted her shoulder, and walked to Su Peijian. Qingsang. Firstly, I'm not arrogant. Whether it's in the past or now, I'm only doing what I think I can and can do. I see it at I Su. Can I Jing. See I Su Su Jiner. She see I Su silly she you. She you. You Su. You. I sincerely hope that we can mind our own business. It's better for you and for me, don't you think? After saying this, she held Xiang Caiping's hand and left. Chapter 347. She had always been pampered by Su Qinghui and Li Qianxue since she was a child. Except for the occasional annoyance with Su Qingsang, her life had always been smooth sailing. But recently, she had kicked a steel plate because of Su Qingsang. Today, she had been slapped hard in the face. And the person who had slapped her was Su Qingsang's mother? The mistress between her mother and her father? How could Su Peijian take this lying down? What shocked her even more was Xiang Caiping's nonsense. How dare she say that Li Qianxue was a mistress? How dare she? She had lost her usual arrogance and composure. The demeanor that Li Qianxue had carefully cultivated had disappeared without a trace. She just hated it. She hated it to the core. Peijian, Qiu Junjiu, and the others looked at her worriedly. Are you okay? Su Peijian was panting. Her face was cold, and she couldn't hear the voices of her friends behind her. Peijian, Qiu Junjiu called her again worriedly. Xiang Caiping had really gone too far today. How dare she hit her? I'm fine. Su Peijian's words were almost squeezed out from between her teeth. The others looked at each other and saw the worry in each other's eyes. Peijian, your face. Why don't we go back and apply some medicine? Su Peijian didn't refute. She kept adjusting her breathing and finally nodded coldly. Qiu Junjiu and the others followed her back to her room. Su Peijian's hands were tightly clasped together. Her eyes had never been so gloomy. Su Qingsang and Xiang Caiping were silent all the way until they got into the car. Seeing that both of them didn't look too good when they got into the car, Yumei was smart enough not to ask. Su Qingsang looked at Xiang Caiping's pale face and sighed softly. Mom, you didn't have to do this. Because Yumei was there, she spoke in Lin City's dialect. Xiang Caiping couldn't speak. She kept her head down. Her hand was clenched into a fist on her knee, and her other hand was placed on her chest, pressing it tightly. Su Qingsang knew that she was trying to control her emotions. She wanted to comfort her, but didn't know where to start. In the end, she put her arms around her shoulders and said, Mom, I'm fine. It was true. It was all in the past. Those things have long passed. Xiang Caiping still didn't speak, but Su Qingsang saw tears fall from her eyes as she kept her head down. She felt a little helpless, a little sad, and a little touched. Actually, Dad isn't as bad as she said. Su Qingsang knew that any explanation would be useless, but she still wanted to make her feel better. At least for all these years, I haven't been cold or hungry. Although I can't ask for more, it's already much better than the children of ordinary families. Xiang Caiping still did not speak. She could not open her mouth. She was afraid that if she opened her mouth, she would burst into tears. Su Qingsang blinked her eyes and finally picked a few relaxing things to tell her. Mom, look, we're going to play now. How can I have fun if you're like this? Xiang Caiping waved her hand. She needed some time to calm herself down. Su Qingsang knew that it was useless to persuade her, so she hugged her mother tightly and leaned her face on her shoulder. Mom, I'm really fine. This is good, really good. Chapter 348. Moreover, if it weren't for the Su family's cold treatment for so long, she wouldn't have achieved what she had today. 25 years old, a medical graduate student, planning to take the medical master's exam. She had been working hard since her internship in her third year. Now she was a talent valued by both the hospital and the department. Xiang Caiping stopped crying, but her breathing was still unstable. Her throat was choked. That kind of emotion couldn't be comforted by a few words from Su Qingsang. No matter how good Su Qingsang was now, it couldn't make up for Su Qinghui's neglect of her in the past. It also couldn't make her forget that he abandoned her with a clear conscience. She was the original sin. Yumi didn't quite understand what they were talking about. After thinking about it, she leaned over from the front seat and asked in a low voice, "Qingsang, is your mother okay?" "She's fine." Su Qingsang shook her head and signaled for Yumi to stop asking. Yumi was a very famous escort in Japan. Not only did she know Chinese and English, but she was also very familiar with the customs and habits of many countries. Seeing Su Qingsang's look, she didn't continue asking. It took Xiang Kaiping a few minutes to recover from that kind of emotion. However, it was still useless. She was still depressed and disappointed. Su Qingsang knew that she couldn't persuade her, so she didn't want to. However, she began to think about something else. This hot spring hotel was very famous, but she didn't expect to meet Su Peijian and the others. The conflict today was not within her expectations. Su Peijian probably didn't expect to meet her either. She didn't know if they would leave after that. If they didn't leave, it would be troublesome to meet them again. Maybe she should mention to Xiang Kaiping and change to another hotel? With that thought, Su Qingsang began to ask Yumi if there were any other hotels nearby that were similar to this one. Yumi knew this place very well. She began to introduce them. Xiang Kaiping, who had been depressed, suddenly raised her head at that moment. "Why should we change hotels? We're not changing hotels." "Mom! Why should we change hotels? They should be the ones changing hotels." After what happened just now, Xiang Kaiping had a lot of imagination. She now thought of Su Qingsang as a poor little girl who had been oppressed by the Su family. Even if Su Qingsang promised her that she was doing well, she wouldn't believe it. She would only think that Su Qingsang was lying to her. "All these years you've always given in to them, but how did they treat you?" Xiang Kaiping's voice was so soft that only Su Qingsang, who was sitting next to her, could hear it. She could still clearly hear the anger in her voice. He sighed helplessly and said, "Mom, I've been living well all these years." She put aside the desire she had when she was young and the indifference of the Su family. She was well-fed and well-clothed, so she was not short of money. She used to want to work to get rid of the Su family, but later Su Qinghui bought her a house, so she gave up. She put all her heart and soul into her studies, so her grades were better than the average person's. "It's really good. Don't lie to me." Xiang Kaiping would not listen to her explanation. She had already stubbornly decided on what she believed. Seven looked at Yumi helplessly. "Is it going to take a long time?" "Soon." Yumi knew that her role had come. She turned around and began to introduce the place they were going to next. Chapter 349. Su Qingshuang really didn't mind having conflicts with them, but Su Peijian was Su Qinghui's most beloved daughter. She couldn't guarantee that Su Qinghui wouldn't cause trouble for Xiang Kaiping because of that slap. It was better to have less trouble than more trouble. To Su Qingsang's relief, when they returned to the hot spring hotel that night, Su Peijian and the others had already left. She confirmed with the hotel owner again and again that they had indeed left. That was good. It would be best if they didn't run into each other. However, thinking about the slap that Xiang Kaiping gave Su Peijian, Su Qingsang didn't know why, but she felt a little uneasy. After thinking about it, she didn't tell Hua Jinyao about meeting Su Peijian. When Hua Jinyao called again in the evening, she only told him about some interesting things that happened during the day. Hua Jinyao was obviously very busy. She could even hear the sound of typing on the keyboard on the other end of the phone. After repeatedly reminding Hua Jinyao to take care of himself, Su Qingsang hung up. Seeing Xiang Kaiping sitting by the window, Su Qingsang put her arm around her shoulder and said, "Mom, let's go. Didn't you say you were tired from shopping? Let's go to the hot spring again today." "I don't want to go." She wasn't in the mood for the whole day. "Mom, just think of it as keeping me company." "Okay." Since Su Qingsang said so, Xiang Kaiping had no choice but to leave. She seemed to be fine on the surface, but Su Qingsang knew that Xiang Kaiping wouldn't get over it so easily. She didn't want to explain more. She would try her best to make Xiang Kaiping have fun and be happy for the rest of the trip. On the 3rd of New Year's Day, Su Qingsang's holiday ended. She had to work tomorrow. She was flying back home early in the morning. However, when she opened the door and was about to leave, she saw Hu Jinyao standing at the door and about to knock. "It's you." Su Qingsang was surprised by his sudden appearance. "Why are you here?" Hu Jinyao smiled and reached out to hold her in his arms. He hugged her very tightly. Su Qingsang buried her face in his chest. The weather in Japan was getting colder on New Year's Day. Hu Jinyao's clothes were still cold, but Su Qingsang felt very warm and touched. After hugging her enough, Hu Jinyao held her face and kissed her lips. An extremely long and lingering kiss. When Su Qingsang was almost out of breath and her legs were weak, he finally let go of her. However, they were still standing close to each other with their foreheads touching hers. "Did you miss me?" Su Qingsang blushed a little. She looked at him and nodded slightly. "Yes. Honey, I missed you too." Hu Jinyao hugged her again. "Are you going to check out now?" "Yes." Su Qingsang nodded, suddenly realizing that Xiang Kaiping was still in the room. Sure enough, she was standing behind them with a smile on her face. Su Qingsang blushed even more. When she saw Hu Jinyao, she forgot that Xiang Kaiping was leaving with her. You haven't told me why you're here. Didn't I say I would accompany you to Japan?" In the end, he had too much work to do, and was only able to finish it last night. After sleeping for 2 hours, he flew over. "I can't play with you, but I can take you home." Su Qingsang bit her lip. Her eyes fell on Hu Jinyao's face. As if only then did she realize that he didn't look well. He looked a little tired, and his eyes were faintly bloodshot. There were dark circles under his eyes. Chapter 350. Although it wasn't a long flight from Lin City to Japan, Su Qingsang really felt sorry for him. "It's okay, I'm in good health." It took 3 hours to fly from Lin City to Japan. However, it only took slightly more than an hour to fly from Rong City. Su Qingsang complained in a low voice, but the expression on her face was somewhat sweet. How could she not be touched and like such a thoughtful Hu Jinyao? Let's go home." Hu Jinyao reached out his hand and said, "Mom, give me my luggage." "Yeah." After seeing Hu Jinyao, Xiang Kaiping's gloomy mood for the past few days was not completely swept away, but it did dissipate quite a bit. His daughter was blessed after all. Seeing how Hu Jinyao treated her now, she knew that she would definitely live a happy life in the future. If her daughter was happy, she would feel less guilty. Hu Jinyao didn't know about the change in Xiang Kaiping's mood. He only felt that after the trip, Xiang Kaiping and Su Qingsang's relationship seemed to have improved. This kind of closeness was something he was happy to see. When they boarded the plane, Su Qingsang felt sorry for Hu Jinyao. She asked the stewardess to bring him a blanket and an eye mask so that he could have a good rest. Hu Jinyao leaned over and kissed the corner of her lips. "Honey, are you feeling sorry for me? Don't worry, I'm in good health. It's okay to lose a few hours of sleep. Who cares about you?" Her mother was still sitting in the back. Su Qingsang glared at him coquettishly. "I care about myself. I've been playing for the past few days, so I'm going to sleep now." "Is that so? Then hurry up and sleep." Hu Jinyao covered her body with the blanket and handed her the blindfold. "All right, let's sleep together." The two of them closed their eyes and lay down. Before Su Qingsang closed her eyes, she heard Hu Jinyao say, "It's boring to sleep together on the plane. Qingsang, let's sleep together when we get back." Su Qingsang blushed. Hu Jinyao was always so flippant. Hu Jinyao's eyes were closed. He didn't speak, but his hands were tightly held between them. When Su Peijian got home, Li Qinxue was not there. She had a meeting to attend today. She was the host of the Lin City Women's Chamber of Commerce. She had to attend such meetings every time. Old Master Li was playing chess with Su Yusin. When he saw Su Peijian coming home, he waved at her. However, Su Peijian only responded casually and quickly rushed upstairs to her own room. "What happened to your sister?" Old Master Li looked at Su Yusin worriedly. Su Yusin picked up a chess piece and put it in place. He looked up because of Old Master Li's words. "Who knows? Didn't he go to Japan to play? Maybe he's not having fun? She went out with Chiu Junjio and the others. Why would she be unhappy? Not to mention Su Qinghui and Li Qianxue. Even old Master Li was very fond of this granddaughter of his, who had always had a sweet mouth, and was especially good at pleasing the elders. Just as he was about to ask Su Yusen to take a look, Su Peijian rushed down like a gust of wind. She had already changed her clothes, and was about to run away. After old Master Li put down a chess piece, he watched her rush in and out. He looked at Su Yusen and said, "Why do I seem to see a palm print on your sister's face? You must be mistaken." Su Yusen was still thinking about his next move. He was a little distracted by old Master Li's words. "Who dared to hit my sister?" Old Master Li stopped talking. He thought that he might have been mistaken. Chapter 351. After a day, the handprint on Su Peijian's face had faded a little. However, she didn't apply any medicine or do anything else. She returned to the country with this face. She wanted this handprint to remind her of the humiliation she had suffered in Japan. She also wanted Su Qinghui to see how Su Qingseng bullied her. Su Qinghui had been very busy recently. Even during the holidays, he was still working overtime. "Peijian, you're back. How was your trip to Japan?" Su Qinghui didn't stop writing. When he saw Su Peijian, he just asked a question and lowered his head to deal with work. "Dad." Su Peijian had already rushed in front of Su Qinghui. Her voice was unusual. Su Qinghui looked up at her and saw the handprint on his daughter's face at a glance. "What happened to you?" Su Qinghui suddenly stood up, walked around the desk, and walked in front of Su Peijian. "Who hit you?" "Who?" There was obvious anger on his face. How could he have imagined that his precious daughter would be slapped in the face like this? In Lin City, who would dare to do such a thing? "Dad." If Su Peijian had only been putting on an act at the beginning, she really felt aggrieved at this moment. She felt so wronged. She was really wronged, angry, and full of hatred. "Peijian." Su Qinghui had never seen Su Peijian like this. For a moment, he only felt sorry for her. "Don't cry. Tell me who hit you first." Su Peijian couldn't stop her emotions. It took her a long time to calm down. "Peijian." Su Qinghui looked at his daughter crying so hard that her eyes were red. He really felt sorry for her. "Don't cry. What happened to you? You said something." "Dad." Su Peijian took a deep breath and calmed herself down. "You won't let anyone bully me, right?" "Of course." Su Qinghui nodded. "You're my daughter. How could I let anyone bully you? Then if someone bullies me, you'll also settle the score with that person, right?" "Of course." Su Qinghui nodded. "No one will think about bullying you." Su Peijian nodded and finally felt relieved. "The one who bullied me was Su Qingseng." "Qingseng?" Su Qinghui frowned when he heard this. "Why are you again? Didn't you go to Japan? How could?" Su Qinghui didn't believe that Su Qingseng would take the initiative to bully Su Peijian. She more or less knew Su Qingseng's personality. The less trouble the better. Why would he provoke Su Peijian for no reason? "Dad." "I didn't finish. The person who bullied me was Su Qingseng's mother." "Su Qingseng's mother?" Su Qinghui didn't understand. "Who are you talking about?" "Su Qingseng's mother." Su Peijian recalled what Xiang Kaiping had said to her the other day. "Her mother actually called my mother a mistress? She said that my mother snatched you away from her. This can't be real, right? She lied to me, right?" "What do you mean her mother, your mother?" Su Qinghui thought of something and suddenly became a little confused. "Tell me slowly." "I can't understand you like this." "Dad." Su Peijian had finally calmed down. Looking at Su Qinghui's face, she knew that he truly cared about her. She felt much more at ease. After calming down, she took a deep breath and told him about her encounter with Su Qingseng and her mother in Japan. Su Peijian was much less angry with Su Qingseng than Xiang Kaiping. After all, Su Qingseng was Su Qinghui's daughter. Chapter 352. How dare she hit her and humiliate her like that? "Dad, tell me. I'm begging you to tell me that I'm not what that woman said. My mother is not what that woman said. Tell me, tell me." Su Peijian was a little agitated. She shook Su Qinghui's arm and insisted on an answer. Dad, tell me. She lied to me, didn't she? Didn't she? Su Qinghui was dumbfounded. He didn't expect things to develop like this. For him, this was really a shocking thing. How could this happen? How did Su Qingsang meet Su Peijian in Japan? Not only did they meet, but Xiang Kaiping and Su Peijian had sex? Looking at Su Peijian, Su Qinghui was speechless. For the first time in decades, he felt a little confused. There was a kind of anxiety that things were out of his control. That kind of anxiety made his brain stop for a moment. Listening to Su Peijian's anxious voice, he suddenly calmed down. He didn't get his position in the Li group for more than 20 years for nothing. He didn't work hard to make the Su family what it was now. If he hadn't been able to weigh the pros and cons, how could he have become what he was now? Dad, tell me. Seeing that he didn't answer her, Su Peijian became more and more anxious. Was Su Qinghui really like what that woman said? Was it really because her mother took him from her? Peijian, listen to me. Su Qinghui put his hand on Su Peijian's shoulder and said calmly, don't worry about these things. Let's just forget about it. What? Su Peijian's eyes widened. She couldn't believe her ears. Dad, what did you say? I said let's just forget about it. Dad. Su Peijian raised her voice. She couldn't believe her ears. What did you say? Say it again. I said. Is what that woman said true? The only thing Su Peijian could think of was this. Did my mother really take you from her? Peijian. Su Qinghui frowned. He wanted to explain, but Su Peijian didn't want to hear it. Don't call me that. She shook her head. Thinking of that woman, she wanted to slap her. Do you know that woman hit me? She hit me? Su Peijian couldn't take this lying down. Ever since we were young, you and my mother couldn't even bear to lay a finger on me. But that woman hit me? Peijian, you don't want to help me take revenge. Don't want to help me punish the woman who bullied me, and instead want me to let it go? Su Peijian took a big step back and kept shaking her head. So those were all true. You really don't love my mom? You love that woman? Su Qinghui frowned subconsciously. Peijian, it's not what you think. Your mother and I, actually you. I don't want to hear it. Su Peijian couldn't take it anymore. She waved her hand, her face full of despair. No wonder that woman dared to hit me. Peijian. Su Qinghui hadn't expected the conflict between Su Peijian and Xiang Kaiping. Chapter 353. Su Qinghui was stunned again. Subconsciously, he resisted the idea. Peijian, I didn't. If you didn't, why didn't you help me? Su Peijian was now sure that Xiang Kaiping was telling the truth. You love that woman, so you'd rather watch me get bullied than help me, right? Peijian. What did he mean? Su Qinghui took her hand. Calm down. Many things are not what you think. I told you to let it go, because I didn't want you to have a conflict with her. After all, she is Su Qingsang's mother, the woman you love the most, right? Su Peijian pushed Su Qinghui's hand away. The first half of her life had been smooth. If he wants the wind, if he wants the rain, he gets the rain. But recently, she had kicked the biggest iron plate. And now she was being humiliated by her most respected father. Peijian, it's not what you think. Su Qinghui felt a headache when he saw Su Peijian like this. He almost blurted out the words that had been buried in his heart. Dad, don't find excuses for yourself. You can't explain yourself because I'm right. I'm right about everything. Is that right? Su Peijian couldn't listen to it anymore. She only felt that she had been hurt, greatly hurt. Dad, you just watched an outsider bully me. Are you worthy of me and my mother? Su Qinghui's eyes widened. He took a step forward and seemed to want to explain. Peijian, listen to me. Actually, Su Peijian didn't listen. Su Qinghui was a little anxious. His determination to disregard everything had reached its peak at this moment. Peijian, you may not believe what I'm going to say next, but it's true. Su Peijian's phone rang. Su Peijian didn't want to listen to Su Qinghui's explanation. She avoided him and answered the phone on the other side. Peijian, I heard you're back. Where are you? The call was from Li Qianxue. Su Peijian seemed to have found a way to vent. She couldn't control herself when facing Li Qianxue. Mom! Peijian, what's wrong? Li Qianxue had never heard her daughter cry like this. Not even when she broke off the engagement with Qiu Yanba. Peijian. Su Qinghui took a step forward, looked at Su Peijian, and kept winking at her. Mom, I was bullied. Su Peijian didn't notice the look in Su Qinghui's eyes. Since Su Qinghui wasn't willing to make the decision for her, she would look for someone who could. Are you with your father? Wait a minute. I'll be right there. Li Qianxue heard Su Peijian's complaint and said without thinking, You're in the company? Give me a few minutes. I happen to be nearby. Su Peijian hung up the phone. When she saw Su Qinghui's hesitant face, she couldn't help but feel resentful. Dad, since you're not willing to stand up for me, I can only let my mom stand up for me. Peijian. You. Su Qinghui knew that Li Qianxue would come over later. He couldn't tell Su Peijian what he had wanted to tell her. He rubbed the space between his eyebrows tiredly, and suddenly felt a great sense of powerlessness. He knew Li Qianxue's personality. The situation was getting out of control. 15 minutes later, Li Qianxue appeared in Su Qinghui's office. When she saw the handprint on Su Peijian's face, her whole face turned livid. Chapter 354. Su Peijian returned home a day earlier than Su Qingsang. Therefore, Su Qingsang didn't know that Xiang Saiping's slap had caused Li Qianxue and Su Peijian's greatest dissatisfaction. She had just gotten off the plane. Looking at Hu Jinyao, who looked much better after a long rest, she relaxed a little. The temperature in Japan was lower than in Lin City. Su Qingsang felt a little hot after getting off the plane. The first thing Hu Jinyao did was to take off the thick coat for her. Let's go. Yang Wenchang will come to pick us up later. Okay. Su Qingsang rested for a while on the plane and felt much better now. She looked at Xiang Kaiping worriedly and shook her head at him. I slept for a while on the plane. I feel much better now. Then let's go home. They went home. Although Su Qingsang went out with Xiang Kaiping, she still bought some things. Su Peijian naturally didn't need them. She brought gifts for her colleagues in the department. There were also gifts for Su Qinghui. Most importantly, they were for Shi Mengwan. Su Qingsang called her almost as soon as she got home and asked her to come over for dinner and gifts. After resting in the afternoon, Sister Lu came over with a bunch of ingredients at Hu Jinyao's order. After a few days in Japan, Su Qingsang wanted to eat hot pot. Xiang Kaiping said that it wasn't hygienic outside and suggested to cook at home. Su Qingsang knew that she was in a bad mood these days, so she wanted to have hot pot to liven things up. Sister Lu bought a lot of ingredients, including big bones. She asked Sister Lu to make soup with big bones according to the method on the internet. Then she added hot pot seasoning. One side was chili oil, and the other was clear soup. Xiang Kaiping washed and picked vegetables with her. The gloomy mood of the past few days was swept away. Su Qingsang was more or less relieved. Shi Mengwan came over before it was time for dinner. She had won that award, and many people were getting married at the end of the year. She was actually very busy. When Su Qingsang saw her, she found that there were dark circles under her eyes. What's wrong? Didn't you sleep well? Yeah. Shi Mengwan yawned. I was drawing until 2 last night. Su Qingsang frowned and felt a little sorry for her. You're not in a hurry. You can hire someone to help you. Why do you have to make yourself so tired? It's fine. I'm used to it. Shi Mengwan wrapped her arms around her neck and said, You, on the other hand, look good. Did you have fun? It's all right. Hu Jinyao did not come back. Xiang Kaiping was helping out in the kitchen. There were some things that she could talk to Shi Mengwan about. He pulled her into the room, saying that he was there to get her a present. He told her about how he had met Su Peijian in Japan, and how Xiang Kaiping had slapped her. What did you say? Shi Mengwan's eyes widened in shock. In addition to shock, there was also a hint of worship. Your mother slapped Su Peijian? Shoo. Su Qingsang gestured for them to keep quiet and looked outside. It's already happened. Now that I'm back, I have a headache. Are you afraid of Su Peijian or Li Qianxue? No matter who it was, Hu Jinyao had a way to deal with it, right? That's not it. Su Qingsang shook her head. What was to come would come. She had never thought of running away. My mother is a thoughtful person. She always feels that she owes me for all these years. So I. Chapter 355. Smart. That's what I mean. After spending so much time with Xiang Kaiping, Su Qingseng really saw her as her mother. She didn't want her to suffer. It's nothing. Leave it to me. Shi Mengwan patted Su Qingseng's shoulder as she spoke. Don't worry. Su Qingseng knew Shi Mengwan very well. Compared with her somewhat dull personality, Shi Mengwan was much more cheerful and lively. Xiang Kaiping had always liked her. With her around, she would be happier. Let's go. Let's go out. Su Qingseng held Shi Mengwan's arm. I'm not worried. Hua Jinyao and I were thinking about something else. What? Move to Rong City. You want to leave this place? Shi Mengwan was really shocked this time. Just to avoid the Su family? Su Qingseng shook her head. Not really. Hua Jinyao was originally from Rong City. He had been developing his career here because of me. His grandfather always wants us to go back. Shi Mengwan didn't say anything. In fact, she didn't know what to say. Hua Jinyao was married to Su Qingseng. It was normal for him to want to bring Su Qingseng home. However, she was still very reluctant. Qingseng, I don't want you to go. It's still early. It was just a decision. Don't worry. We'll be together for a long time. Shi Mengwan sighed and hugged Su Qingseng tightly. If I had known, I wouldn't have let you marry Hua Jinyao. Sure. I won't marry him. I'll marry you. I support you. Shi Mengwan's eyes widened. Hurry up and abandon him. Come into my arms. That won't do. Hua Jinyao was leaning against the door and looking at the two of them. The wife is mine. Don't even think about taking her away from me. You're back. Su Qingseng smiled and let go of Shi Mengwan's hand. Just in time. We can start eating. I'm just informing you that you can eat now. Let's go. Hua Jinyao stepped forward, took Su Qingseng's hand, and let her out. Shi Mengwan clicked her tongue at the back, looking hurt. My husband abandoned me as soon as he arrived. You even said you wanted to throw yourself into my arms. Woman, you really value love over friendship. Let's go. You talk too much. Su Qingseng was amused by her. He turned around and extended his hand to Shi Mengwan, but she avoided it with a proud look on her face. Thanks. There was no need for that. I'm not going to be your third wheel. With these words, she went outside. Xiang Kaiping had just put the pot on the dining table and was smiling when she saw her. Mengwan, it's time to eat. Auntie. Shi Mengwan stepped forward to hold her arm. Qingseng bullied me. Ah. Xiang Kaiping looked at Shi Mengwan, who was accusing Su Qingseng of forgetting friends in love. Xiang Kaiping had always been beautiful, and her facial features carried a kind of flamboyant beauty. Coupled with her crisp voice and lively words, Xiang Kaiping was amused by her. He made Xiang Kaiping happy and kept talking to her. Shi Mengwan sat down and winked at Su Qingseng. Seeing that, Su Qingseng smiled and made a gesture of thanks. The two sisters thought that no one else could see their little tricks, but in fact Hua Jinyao saw it. Her eyes fell on Su Qingseng. She smiled faintly as she watched Shi Mengwan and Xiang Kaiping talk. Her eyes were curved with a faint smile. Chapter 356. Su Qingseng noticed Hua Jinyao's movement and turned to smile at him. Both Shi Mengwan and Xiang Kaiping noticed their subtle movements. Xiang Kaiping heaved a sigh of relief. There was a hint of envy and gloom in Shi Mengwan's eyes. She thought about how she met Zhang Haozi a few days ago. Unlike Su Qingseng's luck, Hua Jinyao was hers and only hers. Su Qingseng was standing next to him. However, there was another woman beside Zhang Haozi. The person beside him was not her. More importantly, Zhang Haozi had long forgotten their agreement. Shaking her head, Shi Mengwan's emotional change only lasted for a moment. Soon she was talking and laughing again. He had his daughter, son-in-law and Shi Mengwan. As expected, Xiang Kaiping was in high spirits. What happened in the past had already happened. In the future, she would treat her daughter even better. He picked up the beef from the pot and put it into Su Qingseng's bowl. Then put some vegetables into Shi Mengwan's bowl. The atmosphere was joyous and harmonious. Just when the atmosphere was good, the doorbell of Su Qingseng's house rang. Su Qingseng and Hua Jinyao looked at each other. He put a hand on her shoulder and got up to open the door. The person standing outside the door was Su Qinghui. Obviously, he didn't expect Hu Jingyao to open the door. He was taken aback. The dining room was connected to the living room. Su Qingseng was sitting at the edge of the dining table, near the living room. Seeing Hu Jingyao standing still, she turned her head and saw Su Qinghui at the door. Frowning, she subconsciously looked at Xiang Kaiping, who was sitting beside her. The smell of hot pot in the restaurant was very strong. Naturally, Su Qinghui also smelled it. You're eating? Hu Jingyao nodded slightly. Yes, we just started eating. Have you eaten, Dad? No. Su Qinghui answered subconsciously. After that, he felt a little uncomfortable. You guys go ahead. Su Qingseng felt a little awkward. She was supposed to invite Su Qinghui in for dinner, but Xiang Kaiping turned her face away from the man. She was still upset. When Shi Mengwan saw this, she tried to smooth things over again. Hello, uncle. As she spoke, she gave Su Qingseng a look. Su Qingseng sighed, stood up, and walked over to Hu Jingyao. Dad, if you haven't eaten, let's eat together. But I don't know if you'll eat it. We're having hot pot today. Hot pot. Okay. Su Qinghui was a little surprised. He glanced at Su Qingseng and walked in. The dining table was rectangular. Su Qingseng and Hu Jingyao sat on one side, while Xiang Kaiping and Shi Mengwan sat on the other. Sister Lu was sitting next to Su Qinghui, so there was only one seat left for him. Su Qinghui sat down with Su Qingseng on his left and Xiang Kaiping on his right. Some ingredients had been placed on the table, but there was still a lot left. The yuanyang pot was steaming hot at this time. Su Qinghui had never experienced such a scene before. He went from being the manager of the Li Corporation to the general manager of the Li Corporation. When he was with Li Qianxue, his status became higher and higher, and fewer people dared to act casually in front of him. In the Li family, Old Master Li had high blood pressure and a light but healthy diet. When he was outside, he would order a separate portion of the company's lunch. As for socializing outside, they would all go to high-end hotels, and the people they interacted with were all business elites or directors. There was no such thing as a table full of people eating hot pot together. Looking at the steaming hot pot, the smell was actually a little strong, but the smell was surprisingly appetizing. Chapter 357. The atmosphere was a bit stagnant. Su Qinghui didn't speak, and so did the others. Xiang Kaiping frowned and looked at the ingredients in the pot. Finally, she picked up a piece of meat and put it in Su Qingsong's bowl. Eat. Thanks, Mom. The corners of Su Qingsong's mouth twitched. She knew that Xiang Kaiping was a little annoyed that Su Qinghui had come at this time. Dad, you should eat too. Xiang Kaiping could ignore her father, but Su Qingseng couldn't. I don't know if you'll like it. If you don't like spicy food, you can have the clear broth over here. Su Qingseng knew that Su Qinghui and his family usually ate light food. All right. Su Qinghui didn't refuse. After Sister Lu got him a bowl, he started eating. Shi Mengwan was a little reserved at first. After all, she was also a little afraid of Su Qinghui. However, thinking about today's mission and looking at Xiang Kaiping's cold face, she had no choice but to continue playing the role of the Joker. Auntie, eat this. Qingseng likes it very much too. Shi Mengwan picked up a shrimp dumpling for Xiang Kaiping. Really? These days, Xiang Kaiping was still trying to get along with Su Qingseng. She also wanted to know what Su Qingseng liked to eat. Did you guys go to hot pot often in the past? Yes. Especially when the weather is cold. Shi Mengwan glanced at Su Qingseng as she spoke. Auntie, you don't know. Qingseng had a hard time taking the postgraduate entrance examination. He would read until 1 or 2 in the morning every day. She even forgot to eat dinner a few times. And I was the one who brought her food. You're so nice to Qingseng. Xiang Kaiping glanced at Qingseng as she spoke. No matter how much you think about your studies, your health is the most important. Don't do this again. Mom, I didn't. Listen to her exaggeration. Su Qingseng glanced at Shi Mengwan and said, Why don't you say that you're still drawing at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning? Yes. You were the one who brought me food, so that I wouldn't starve to death. She looked at Xiang Kaiping and said, Auntie, you don't know this, but Qingseng took care of me more. After all, my life has been turned upside down more than hers. You are all good children. It's not that exaggerated. Su Qingseng sensed Hu Jinyao's gaze and explained blandly, Actually, we lived together during that time. Let's take care of each other. That's right. The room you're living in now used to be mine. Later, Shi Mingwan chose a studio far away and made money, so she moved out. But when he was free, he would still come back to stay for 2 days. After Su Qingseng got married, he came less often. You can come and stay next time, as long as you don't mind. Auntie, what are you talking about? Why would I despise you? Shi Mingwan made a fist gesture. Qingseng is like a sister to me. Her mother is my mother. With Shi Mingwan around, the atmosphere of the meal was the same as before. Su Qinghui didn't say anything. He sat there and listened to other people talking about his daughter. It wasn't the first time he looked at his daughter, but it was the first time he looked at her so seriously. Unbeknownst to him, Su Qingseng had grown from a child to a young lady. Her smile was not as gorgeous as Su Peixian's, but it was extremely gentle. His eyes were curved, as if he could see the shadow of his youth. Chapter 358. Su Qinghui suddenly fell silent. He noticed that both Hu Jinyao and Xiang Kaiping liked to put food in Su Qingsang's bowl. He listened to Shi Mingwan talk about some interesting things that happened to Su Qingsang when she was a postgraduate student in university. He also remembered some interesting things that Su Qingsang had encountered in the hospital. He suddenly realized that this was the first time he had been so close to his daughter, and the first time he had understood her so well. Before that, all his memories of his daughter were of Su Peixian. When did Su Peixian start to grow teeth, talk and walk? He remembered clearly when he was in kindergarten, when he entered university, and when he received his first love letter from a male classmate. What about Su Qingsang? But he couldn't remember at all. He did not speak. He was silent, and no one spoke to him. Occasionally, Hu Jinyao would ask him about work cooperation, but he answered absent-mindedly. He thought about the purpose of his visit today, and his gaze fell on Xiang Kaiping. She was looking at Su Qingsang and listening to her talk about some interesting interns in the hospital. Her eyes were filled with a loving smile. She only had eyes for her daughter. I'm so full. Shi Mingwan patted her belly. I'm going to die. Tomorrow I'll really gain 1 kilogram. With your figure, it doesn't matter if you gain another 5 kilograms. Although Shi Mingwan wasn't thin, she definitely wasn't fat. Don't. It was getting colder, and I could feel the flesh on my waist getting thicker. If I keep eating like this, I'm going to lose weight. Little girls, why would you want to lose weight? Xiang Kaiping looked at the two of them. You're not allowed to lose weight. Body first. Especially Mingwan. Next time you come over, I will cook something delicious for you. Auntie, you'll feed me like a pig. Who said that? How can there be such a beautiful pig? Xiang Kaiping's teasing made Shi Mingwan burst into laughter. The smile on Su Qingsang's face finally widened. I'm full too. So full. Su Qingsang straightened up and found that Su Qinghui was still sitting in his seat. She rolled her eyes and looked at Hu Jinyao. Why don't we go out for a walk? Digestion? I'll go too. Shi Mingwan also stood up. Let's go together. Do you mind if I'm the third wheel? I do mind. I don't mind. Su Qingsang couldn't help but glare at him. What are you doing? Hu Jinyao cleared his throat. It's getting late. I'm going back to rest. Shi Mingwan blinked and turned to look at Xiang Kaiping. Auntie, look at this. I was given the cold shoulder. Auntie doesn't mind you. You stay here with Auntie. Auntie, thank you. Shi Mingwan clutched her chest, still looking hurt. But I'm hurt. I'm going home to comfort my broken heart alone. Mingwan. Mom, let's go down first. Su Qingsang couldn't stay any longer. She could tell that Su Qinghui had something to say to Xiang Kaiping. It was better for them not to stay there and cause trouble. Qingsang. Mom. Su Qingsang held Xiang Kaiping's hand, intending to pull her hand away. Let's go for a walk in the neighborhood downstairs. It'll be fine. Auntie. I have to go too. Shi Mingwan stood up. Actually, I can't be a third wheel. I still have to go home to draw. The three young people left. Sister Lu swiftly cleaned up the table and bowls before taking her leave. Chapter 359. There was still a faint smell of hot pot in the air, and the lively atmosphere just now had disappeared without a trace. Xiang Kaiping wanted to go back to her room. She thought of something and got up to sit down in the living room. She turned on the phone, picked up the sweater that was half knitted, and started knitting again. Su Qinghui had been sitting at the dining table. After his daughter and son-in-law left, he stood up straight and stood next to Xiang Kaiping. Xiang Kaiping ignored him. He walked to her and sat down. Kaiping. Xiang Kaiping didn't stop knitting. She didn't even look at him. Her actions made Su Qinghui feel annoyed. Looking at Xiang Kaiping's wrinkled face, which was no longer young, he felt very complicated. Did he love her? He didn't know, but he felt pity and heartache. Xiang Kaiping's appearance made it much easier to find out about her past. Su Qinghui had also sent someone to investigate. He had also read the reports. It was because of that he felt a little heartache. In fact, he and Xiang Kaiping grew up together. They were childhood sweethearts, and their relationship was the most precious and understanding. He understood Xiang Kaiping and knew that she was weak. However, such a weak woman had to learn to work hard like a man. It really made his heart ache. He sighed and thought of something that had been troubling him. Kaiping, did you go to Japan with Qingseng a few days ago? Xiang Kaiping didn't answer him. She raised the sweater and looked at it. The bottom of the sweater was already knitted. She was thinking about how to knit a pattern on it. Kaiping. Su Qinghui knew that she was angry with him, but he thought that such anger would dissipate. Xiang Kaiping put down the sweater and looked at him coldly. You already know. Why are you asking me? Su Qinghui was speechless. Xiang Kaiping's stubbornness made him feel a little helpless. Yes, I know. Pei also went to Japan and met you. Xiang Kaiping knew when he said this. She chuckled, and a rare hint of mockery appeared in her eyes. Su Qinghui, are you here to stand up for your daughter? Kaiping, what are you talking about? Isn't it? Xiang Kaiping sneered. Qingseng couldn't have told you that I went to Japan with Qingseng, so it can only be that good daughter of yours. She didn't just tell me that she went to Japan with Qingseng, right? She also told you that I slapped her, right? Su Qinghui looked at Xiang Kaiping. He had never seen her so sharp. Kaiping, what are you doing here today? So you're here to stand up for your daughter? Xiang Kaiping could only feel an inexplicable anger rising in her. Li Qianshua's daughter was a human being. Was Xiang Kaiping's daughter not a human being? Kaiping, why would you think of me this way? Su Qinghui widened his eyes and stared at Xiang Kaiping. He couldn't stand her sharp words. I wanted to talk to you about Pei today, but I definitely didn't want to help her vent her anger. What's that? Xiang Kaiping hated Su Qinghui the moment she saw him. She hated his heartlessness, hated his indifference, hated his selfishness. She also hated him for not caring about Su Qingseng. Since you're not here to help her vent her anger, are you here to apologize for her rudeness? Rudeness? Apologize? Su Qinghui was stunned. Chapter 360. Su Qinghui was stunned. Pei Xiang Kaiping could tell from his expression that he didn't know about it at all. The anger on her face grew. Look, you don't know what happened, and you don't know what your good daughter said. Why are you here in such a hurry to avenge her? Kaiping, I'm not. You're not what? You're not here to explain for your good daughter? You're not here to avenge Li Qianshua's daughter? Then tell me, what are you here for? Su Qinghui was silent, looking at Xiang Kaiping's agitated face. He couldn't say a word. You can't speak, can you? Xiang Kaiping didn't want to see Su Qinghui. He hadn't changed much in all these years. He was still elegant and handsome. Not only did he not age, but he also became more mature, adding to the charm of a mature man. But now, no matter how handsome Su Qinghui was, he couldn't move her at all. She only had hatred for him. Su Qinghui, I don't want to see you. Get out. Su Qinghui sat still. He thought of how Li Qianshua's face turned pale when she found out that Su Peixian had been slapped yesterday. He knew Li Qianshua's personality and her bottom line. Li Qinshua's bottom line was her children. She was fierce in public, but in front of Su Peijian and Su Yusin, she had the heart of a mother. Su Peijian had been slapped, and Li Qinshu had to avenge her. If she hadn't known that Su Qingsang and Xiang Kaiping were still in Japan, she would have come here long ago. Kaiping. Su Qinghui closed his eyes. He lowered his head and rubbed his temples, feeling exhausted again. You shouldn't have hit Peijian. If one day Xiang Kaiping knew everything, would she regret it? He didn't know, but he was sure that he did, because he had never thought that Xiang Kaiping, whom he thought he would never see again, would come back one day. Xiang Kaiping was shaking with anger. She stood up and pulled Su Qinghui up, who was still in a daze. She kept pulling his arm. Get out, get out. Su Qinghui. I don't want to see you for the rest of my life. Kaiping. When Su Qinghui's body was about to touch the door, he couldn't help but yell. Qingsang is not your daughter at all. Xiang Kaiping stopped shoving him. The night wind was a little chilly. Shi Mengwan went downstairs, took her gift, said goodbye to Su Qingsang, and went home. It was the end of the year, but she was still busy drawing. There were many things to do. Su Qingsang felt sorry for her, and told her several times not to stay up too late. Shi Mengwan waved her hand, started the car, and left. After Shi Mengwan left, Su Qingsang turned around, and found that Hu Jinyao had been staring at her. What's wrong? He looked at her like that. Was there something on her face? Honey. Hu Jinyao put his arms around her waist and said, I'm a little jealous. You care so much about Shi Mengwan. You've never cared about me like this. Su Qingsang looked up at him helplessly. Hu Jinyao, aren't you childish? Not childish. Hu Jinyao pecked her lips. I'm your husband, and you're my wife. You should treat me the best. Chapter 361. I don't know. Hu Jinyao didn't care about Su Qinghui. The two families were cooperating. For the sake of Su Qingsang's father, he would give him some face. However, it was impossible for Su Qinghui to bully Su Qingsang. I'm worried. Su Qingsang didn't tell Hu Jinyao about what happened in Japan. But now, Su Qingsang was worried that Su Qinghui would come to Xiang Kaiping, because Su Peijian was beaten up. What are you worried about? Hu Jinyao sensed something different. Nothing. She decided not to tell Hu Jinyao. Su Qingsang shook her head, believing that Xiang Kaiping could handle it herself. Hu Jinyao narrowed his eyes and looked at her. His arms around her waist suddenly tightened. Tell me, what's going on? Su Qingsang pressed her lips into a straight line, and held Hu Jinyao's hand instead. Nothing. I just don't understand. What? Tell me, does my dad love my mom or my auntie? The auntie she was referring to was Li Qinshu. After calling her that for so many years, she couldn't change the way she addressed her. Moreover, Xiang Kaiping wasn't there now. She wouldn't be able to hear her calling Xiang Kaiping like that. You'll have to ask him himself. Hu Jinyao didn't see that Su Qinghui loved Xiang Kaiping, or Li Qinshu. If he loved my mother, then why did he stay under the same roof with Auntie for so many years? If he loves Auntie, why is he pestering my mother now? Do you want to hear the truth? Hu Jinyao squeezed her hand with an unruly smile on his face. Speak. In my opinion, your father doesn't love anyone but himself. Su Qingsang pinched him and said, I think he's a philanthropist. I love my mom, but I can't let go of Auntie. Are you saying that your father loves Su Peijian's mother? I don't know. Su Qingsang stopped walking and looked at the shadows of the trees in the neighborhood. But there's something that I've never told my mother or anyone else. What is it? What could he not tell Xiang Kaiping? Probably a few years ago, when I was in college, I went home to get something. Su Peijian and Su Yusin were not at home that day. When I came in, I heard that aunt was sick. I lived with the Su family and studied medicine, so I wanted to see her. Then I saw my dad. Li Qinshu had always been in good health. That illness was one of the few times that Su Qingsang could remember. She went upstairs and was about to go to Li Qinshu's room to take a look when she found that the door of Li Qinshu's room was not closed. She was sick at that time, and her face was burning red. She seemed to be in pain on the bed. When she was about to go in, she saw Su Qinghui coming out of the bathroom. She didn't know what she was thinking at the time, but she subconsciously avoided him and hid by the door. However, that action of hers was unnecessary. At that time, Su Qinghui didn't have time to visit her. With a towel in his hand, he stood by the bed and stared at Li Qianshua's face for a long time. His expression seemed to be hesitating. Finally, he placed it on Li Qianshua's forehead. Actually, I've only seen my dad like that once. I don't know how to describe his expression at that time. In any case, it was very complicated. At that time, she didn't understand love, let alone love. She had a vague idea that Su Qinghui probably had feelings for Li Qianxue. Chapter 362. That was the only time. Later, when she left quietly, she secretly paid attention to the way Su Qinghui and Li Qianxue interacted. She found that Su Qinghui and Li Qianxue were a respectful couple in front of old Master Li. But in private, he was as cold as he could be. He was so cold that she began to suspect that she might have been wrong that day, or that Su Qinghui felt that he hadn't tortured Li Qianxue enough, so he couldn't bear to see her sick and die. So, do you think my father loves Auntie? Are you trying to say that your father is a scumbag? Eating from the bowl, thinking about the pot. Hua Jinyao touched his chin and made such an annotation. Su Qingsang gritted her teeth and hit his chest hard. What are you talking about? She did think that Su Qinghui was not a good man. However, hearing Hua Jinyao talk about his biological father like that, she felt a little strange. Don't talk about my father like that. It was not good for Su Qinghui to hear it. Su Qingsang turned her face to look at him, and her eyes were a little teasing. If I say that again, you're a scumbag? Don't you men all like that? Eating from the bowl, thinking about the pot? Don't wrongly accuse me. Hua Jinyao held her body in his arms. I'm not included in the people you're talking about. You're not a man. Wife. Hua Jinyao's face was serious, but there was an obvious hint in his eyes. Tonight, you can fully experience whether I'm a man or not. Su Qingsang's face suddenly turned red, and she was speechless. All right, let's go back. Don't worry, wife. Hua Jinyao didn't move, but instead pulled her back into his arms. I'm a narrow-minded person, so I can only accommodate you. Su Qingsang stared at him. In the night, Hua Jinyao's eyes were as bright as stars, and only her shadow could be seen in them. She felt as if her heart had been hit hard by Hua Jinyao, and her whole heart beat uncontrollably. Wife, I'm serious. Su Qingsang's face was burning. It was not the first time she had heard Hua Jinyao's confession, but it was the first time she had such a strong emotional fluctuation. She looked down and nodded. I believe you. What about you? Hua Jinyao lifted her chin and made her look at him. What about your heart? My heart. Su Qingsang didn't understand the love between a man and a woman before this. She once had a crush on a senior in high school, but then the two of them went to different schools, so it ended. She was busy studying in university and didn't have time to date. Being with Wei Lenin was just to get rid of the Su family, so it didn't count. Looking into Hua Jinyao's eyes, she subconsciously nodded and said, I'm also very narrow-minded. After pretending to be Hua Jinyao, she probably wouldn't be able to pretend to be anyone else. Now, she was trying her best to put Hua Jinyao into her heart bit by bit. Hua Jinyao smiled. The corners of his lips were raised in a handsome and unruly way. He lowered his head and kissed Su Qingsang's lips. Su Qingsang's legs were a little weak, and she put her hands on his shoulders. Her response made his eyes heat up, and he was about to take another step further. Suddenly, a cat meowed from somewhere, and then a wild cat jumped out of the bushes. Su Qingsang was shocked. Only then did she realize that she had kissed Hua Jinyao in the garden of this neighborhood. Fortunately, there weren't many people around, or it would have been really embarrassing. Chapter 363. Hua Jinyao didn't object. Xiang Kaiping and Su Qinghui might not be done yet, but it was good to go back and take a look. If what Su Qingsang said was true, then the purpose of Su Qinghui's visit today was a little curious. Hua Jinyao had thought that Su Qinghui's behavior was a little strange, but now, it came back to him again. He was thinking, what exactly is wrong? The idea that he had faintly thought about before surged into his mind again. While Hu Jingyao was still thinking, Su Qingseng had already pulled him upstairs. And at the same time, the door of their house opened. Su Qinghui stood by the door, and Xiang Kaiping was pushing him out. Su Qinghui raised his eyes and saw Su Qingsang's face. He was stunned for a moment. Not only him, but Xiang Kaiping, who was standing behind the door, also turned pale. Many years ago, Su Qinghui did something extremely crazy. It was a crazy thing that made him think about it from time to time. He felt happy, but also a little hesitant. That year, he accidentally had sex with Li Qianxue. To him, this was just an accident. What's more, he didn't like Li Qianxue at all. She was fierce, domineering, and arrogant. He didn't like her very much. He had a childhood sweetheart, Xiang Kaiping. After having sex with Li Qianxue that day, he felt a little guilty and blamed himself. Therefore, when she got home, she treated Xiang Kaiping even better. Of course, he also needed to use this method to remind himself who he liked. Who was he going to marry? However, who would have thought that Li Qianxue would unexpectedly get pregnant just like that? What kind of person was Li Qianxue? At that time, she was the daughter of the Li family and the marketing manager of the Li Corporation. She had the means and the status. More importantly, she still had a father who doted on her like a jewel, because her biological mother had passed away early. The Li family and the Chou family were the two largest families in Lin City at that time. They were family friends. At that time, half of the companies in Lin City followed their lead. As for the other companies, there was no need to mention them. If he didn't marry Li Qianxue, not only would he lose his job, but he would also not be able to stay in Lin City. He wanted to be tough for once, but at that time, there were a lot of things to do at home. In desperation, he agreed to marry Li Qianxue. Although Su Qinghui had agreed to marry Li Qianxue, it was still hard for him to accept the fact. He could marry Li Qianxue and spend the rest of his life with Li Qianxue, but he couldn't swallow the feeling of being forced to marry someone else. Even if he couldn't swallow it, he had to. The wedding was held, and he and Li Qianxue became husband and wife. Not only that, but Li Qianxue's belly was getting bigger and bigger. A business of the Li Corporation that he had not been responsible for before was also given to him. He knew that this was another form of compensation from old Master Li. But that was not what he wanted. He was ambitious and wanted to stand out. But he didn't want to rely on women. Every day, he was thinking about how to get back at Li Qianxue. Divorce? No, I can't. Bring down the Li Corporation? At that time, he didn't have that kind of ability. Kill Li Qianxue? No. He wouldn't do anything criminal. Therefore, he wouldn't even attack the Li group. The thought of stealing trade secrets had never crossed his mind. It was true that he wanted revenge, but he would never put himself in danger. He struggled every day, especially after he heard that Xiang Kaiping was also pregnant. Such thoughts grew like wild weeds. Chapter 364. All of Su Qinghui's revenge was just his imagination. He didn't have a plan. Until Li Qianxue gave birth to a daughter. It was such a coincidence. Li Qianxue's child was born at full term. However, Xiang Kaiping was not. Her body was weak, and she was born half a month early. The child was born one day after Li Qianxue's child. When he saw the child, he thought of Li Qianxue, who was still asleep because she had given birth to the child. A crazy and bold idea flashed through his mind. He didn't want to marry Li Qianxue, but he did. He wanted to marry Xiang Kaiping, but he could not. Li Qianxue, aren't you very capable? Isn't the Li family very powerful? If he took Li Qianxue's child away, what would happen to her? Old Master Li had been watching over his daughter. The child was in the nursery. The right time, the right place, and the right people were cooperating with Su Qinghui. He finally made up his mind. He carried Xiang Kaiping's daughter into the nursery and took Li Qianxue's baby away. In fact, he had thought of even more ruthless ideas. It was to send Li Qianxue's child to the orphanage. He wanted Li Qianxue to regret it. But when he held the baby girl, he hesitated for a moment. No matter how much he disliked Li Qianxue, no matter how much he hated her, this child was still his. In the end, Li Qianshua's child was not sent to the orphanage. He asked someone to take care of him, and hired someone to take care of Xiang Kaiping. Li Qianxua woke up the next day. The first thing she did after waking up was to see her daughter. Before he could name the child, old Master Li had given her a name, Peijin. Everything was a foregone conclusion. He had done a perfect job of stealing the dragon and changing the phoenix. A month later, he found an excuse to start a cold war with Li Qianxua. Then when she gave in, he carried Su Qingseng home. That was the darkest thought in his mind when he was young. Li Qianxua, aren't you arrogant? Li Qianxua, aren't you proud? I'll put your biological daughter in front of you and let you look at her every day. But you won't know her and you won't recognize her. I want you to treat your own daughter as an illegitimate daughter. If you make things difficult for her, you will be making things difficult for your own daughter. In fact, there was a time when Su Qinghui really wanted to see Li Qianxua make things difficult for Su Qingseng. Unfortunately, Li Qianxua was a very proud person. She didn't want to make things difficult for someone she didn't like. At most, they would just ignore him. But this was enough. Su Qinghui watched as Li Qianxua ignored Su Qingseng. He watched as she was considerate to Su Peijin, but never gave Su Qingseng a good look. He finally felt a lot better after being forced to marry her. After venting his anger, he began to worry again for a while. He was worried that Su Peijin would look like Xiang Kaiping. He was worried that Su Qingseng would look like Li Qianxua. In that case, Li Qianxua would definitely be able to tell. That was because Li Qianxua and Xiang Kaiping did not look the same at all. The two of them did not look alike at all. However, it seemed that even the heavens were on his side. As Su Peijin grew up, she looked neither like him nor Li Qianxua. Instead, she looked more like Su Qinghui's deceased mother. Su Peijin's genes had been passed down through generations, so Su Peijin couldn't be found to be similar to them at all. At most, her eyebrows, eyes, and demeanor were vaguely similar to his. That was all. However, as Su Qingseng grew up, she looked more and more like him. Many times, when he looked at his two daughters, he could only sigh that this was really fate. Chapter 365. In the end, Su Qinghui's worries became less and less as time went by. In the past few years, they had completely disappeared without a trace. He enjoyed the result, and the fact that Li Qianxua was kept in the dark and ignorant. He was waiting. He wanted to live longer than Li Qianxua. One day, when Li Qianxua was dying and about to leave this world, he would tell her that the daughter she had doted on for decades was actually born from the woman she hated the most. He would tell her that everything of the Li family finally fell on a child who was not Li Qianxua. He imagined the expression Li Qianxua might have, the reaction she might have, and the feeling of Li Qianxua dying with her eyes open. He felt that only then would he have a sense of accomplishment in revenge. However, Su Qinghui didn't expect that there would be such a big change in his revenge plan. First, Su Qingseng married Hu Jinyao, so that she, who could only live an ordinary life for the rest of her life, had a new opportunity. Second, Su Qingseng would meet Xiang Kaiping, and Xiang Kaiping would think that Su Qingseng was her daughter. Both of these things were beyond Su Qinghui's expectations. This was not what he wanted. It was not something he could have guessed. He had wanted to let it go. It didn't matter if it was a misunderstanding. Xiang Kaiping had nothing, and Su Qingseng was already with Hu Jinyao. Her appearance couldn't change anything. However, Su Qinghui didn't expect that Xiang Kaiping would hate Su Peijin. She even went against Su Peijin for Su Qingseng. This was definitely not what Su Qinghui wanted to see. He owed Xiang Kaiping. Su Peijin was his daughter in the palm of his hand. How could he watch Xiang Kaiping make things difficult for her own daughter? Not to mention that if Li Qianxua came looking for Xiang Kaiping, he was afraid that Xiang Kaiping would hate Su Peijin even more. That was even more not what he wanted to see. He was obsessed and felt that Su Peijin was willing to give the best. No matter what, Li Qianxua should be good to Su Peijin. Xiang Kaiping should also be good to Su Peijin. That was the reason why he came looking for her in a hurry today. Others didn't know, but he knew very well that Su Qingseng was actually Li Qianshua's child. Su Peijin was Xiang Kaiping's daughter. Xiang Kaiping had slapped Su Peijian because of Su Qingsang. What would Xiang Kaiping think if she found out? Su Qinghui didn't know, and he didn't dare to think about it now. Things had gone out of control, and he wanted to tell Xiang Kaiping the truth. He was also worried that Xiang Kaiping would not believe or accept it. Perhaps he could try to persuade Xiang Kaiping to stay away from Su Peijian and avoid conflict with her. Su Qinghui thought for a long time and finally came up with an excuse. However, he didn't expect to see a happy family in front of him the moment he arrived. Su Qingsang and Xiang Kaiping were like a real mother and daughter. The atmosphere between them was very harmonious. That was something Su Qinghui hadn't expected. He had been wondering if he should say something. Should I expose him? If he didn't say anything, Xiang Kaiping would always hate Peijian and get close to Qingsang, which was something he didn't want. However, if he really exposed the truth, would the harmony between Xiang Kaiping and Su Qingsang still exist? Most importantly, Xiang Kaiping wanted to be her daughter. If she knew that Su Qingsang wasn't her daughter, would she turn around and look for Su Peijian? Chapter 366. He had no way to punish Li Qianxue, nor could he avenge the humiliation he had suffered years ago. Su Qinghui had been in a dilemma. Xiang Kaiping wanted to kick him out, but he still hadn't figured out what to say. When her hand touched the door and she was about to push him out, Su Qinghui lost his cool and blurted out the words, "Su Qingsang is not his daughter." Xiang Kaiping stared at him, her eyes wide with shock. "What did you say?" "I said Su Qingsang isn't your daughter. You don't have to be so nice to her. You even hurt Peijian for her sake. You know Peijian is your real daughter." Before Su Qinghui could finish his sentence, Xiang Kaiping interrupted him. "Su Qinghui." Xiang Kaiping hadn't expected that after more than 20 years, the gentleman in her memory would become like this. "You don't even want to acknowledge your daughter, so that I won't cause trouble for Su Peijian? Kaiping, what are you talking about? Why didn't I acknowledge my daughter? You still deny it? Tell me, is Qingsang your daughter?" "Yes." "Really? How do you know she is?" Xiang Kaiping had never been so sharp. Her body was trembling, and her voice was almost cracking. The man she had loved, the only man she had ever loved. It wasn't just love. They had grown up together, almost like siblings. However, this man was such a man. In order to prevent her from hurting his precious daughter, in order to prevent his daughter from making things difficult for his legal wife's daughter, he could even find such a shameless reason? "Get out!" Xiang Kaiping was furious. She opened the door and was about to push Su Qinghui out. "Kaiping, did you hear that Qingsang?" Before Su Qinghui could finish his sentence, he saw Su Qingsang and Hu Jinyao coming out of the elevator. He froze for a moment. The words were stuck in his throat, and he couldn't say them out. Xiang Kaiping was about to lose her temper when she saw Su Qingsang come back. She lowered her eyes and didn't want to say a word. "Mom, what was going on? Why did she hear Su Qinghui mention her name?" Su Qingsang looked back and forth between Su Qinghui and Xiang Kaiping. She blinked and turned to look at Hu Jinyao. Hu Jinyao shook his head at her without saying a word. However, his hand secretly squeezed her palm. Su Qingsang wanted to laugh, although it was not the right time. Looking at her parents, she cleared her throat. "Mom, it's cold outside. Let's go in." The weather in Lin City was getting colder. Now that it was New Year's Day, it was indeed very cold to stay outside. "Are you cold? Come in." Xiang Kaiping was anxious. She ignored Su Qinghui and walked past him to grab Su Qingsang's hand. Su Qingsang's hand was held by Xiang Kaiping. Contrary to Su Qingsang's cold hand, Xiang Kaiping's hand was very warm. "Are you cold? Why don't you wear more clothes when you go out?" "It's my fault." Hu Jinyao followed her into the room. "I should have gotten Qingsang some clothes." "Mom, I'm not a kid anymore. I said I was afraid that you would be cold." Su Qingsang pointed at herself. "Look, I'm wearing so many clothes. And you said your hands are so cold. My hands are like this. When it's cold, my hands and feet get cold. It has nothing to do with how many clothes I wear. That won't do. We'll find a traditional Chinese medicine doctor to take your pulse. We'll see how you can recuperate. Mom, I'm a doctor myself. Doctors don't treat themselves. Haven't you heard of it? Xiang Caiping's love for her daughter increased. Chapter 367. Mom. Su Qingsang looked at the two of them, with a confused look on her face. What was going on? The atmosphere was quite good when they were eating just now. Qingsang, it's getting late. You should rest early. Take a hot shower, and soak your hands and feet in hot water. Xiang Caiping didn't respond to Su Qingsang's look. She just held her hand and smiled gently. In addition to the gentleness, there was also self-blame, guilt and heartache. Those emotions were well concealed by Xiang Caiping. All that could be seen was her gentleness and love at the moment. Mom. Su Qingsang was a little helpless and touched. I'm not a child anymore. Yes. You're not a child anymore. You still don't know how to take care of yourself. How could Su Qingsang know how to take care of herself? Without a biological mother by her side, having a biological father was as good as not having one. She didn't know how much she had been wronged since she was a child. Thinking of this, Xiang Caiping was once again glad that she had come to Lin City. If she hadn't come, Su Qingsang would have suffered even more. Mom, don't worry. I'll take good care of Qingsang in the future. Hua Jinyao took the opportunity to show his sincerity. He stood next to Su Qingsang and put his big hand on her shoulder. Qingsang, don't you think so? His parents were still around, and he wasn't being proper again. Su Qingsang glared at him and moved her shoulder to the side without a trace. Hua Jinyao was very strong. How could Su Qingsang avoid him? He could tell that Su Qinghui was probably up to no good this time. Otherwise, Xiang Caiping wouldn't look like that. He didn't know what Su Qinghui said to upset her. Maybe he could go back and check. Hua Jinyao's gaze fell on Su Qinghui, who had a somewhat complicated expression. Once again, a very strange feeling emerged in his heart. Xiang Caiping looked at the loving and harmonious couple, and was happier than if she had eaten honey. You guys go and rest. I'll watch some TV. She was going to talk to Su Qinghui alone. Hua Jinyao and Su Qingsang looked at each other, and turned to say goodbye to Su Qinghui together, before returning to the room. All of Su Qinghui's impulses just now disappeared when he saw Su Qingsang come back. A little impatience would spoil great plans. He couldn't say. Since her children were no longer around, Xiang Caiping didn't want to pretend anymore. Su Qinghui, why don't you tell me that Qingsang is not my daughter? Whose daughter was that? Who is my daughter? Su Qinghui looked at the sharp expression on Xiang Caiping's face. She was a gentle woman, who used to have no opinions of her own. Because she had become a mother, she had also started to become sharper. She would show such a sharp side to him. Can't say it? Xiang Caiping smiled coldly and nodded. Say it. You don't want me to make things difficult for Su Peijian, right? Yes. Su Qinghui closed his eyes. His heart was filled with bitterness, but his face was calm. Caiping, Peijian is a good girl. Next time, can you not make things difficult for her? If there was such a thing as the pain of having one's heart gouged out, and the agony of having one's heart dug out, Xiang Caiping felt that it would be the same as now. Su Qinghui, Peijian is a good girl. Wasn't Qingsang the same? I can't make things difficult for Su Peijian, but your wife and daughter can make things difficult for my Qingsang, right? Su Qinghui opened his eyes and looked at her helplessly. I didn't mean that. Chapter 368. Su Qinghui clenched his fists tightly by his side. He looked at Xiang Caiping and finally nodded. Okay, I'll go. He was free and easy, but his footsteps were very heavy when he turned around. One wrong step led to many wrong steps. Su Qinghui had never doubted himself like this before. He had never denied himself like this before. His shoulders were full of helplessness. Xiang Caiping saw it, but she didn't feel the slightest sympathy. Xiang Caiping was even more determined than Su Qinghui. No one can bully my daughter. She would protect Su Qingsang well. She wouldn't let Su Qinghui or the Li family hurt her again. It was her fault in the past. It was her mistake that caused the current situation. From now on, she would protect Su Qingsang well. Su Qingsang entered the door and touched her nose. She wanted to eavesdrop on what her parents would say, but she didn't feel like it. She couldn't help but stick her ear to the door the moment the door was closed. Hua Jingyao smiled and was about to open the door a little. Su Qingsang suddenly became nervous. Don't. It would be bad if they found out. If you want to hear it, just do it openly. In fact, he was a little curious about what Su Qinghui and Xiang Kaiping had to say. Shoo. Su Qingsang made a gesture and pressed her ear to the door. Hua Jingyao wanted to laugh, so he imitated her and pressed his ear to listen. However, the sound insulation of the door was too good. He couldn't hear what was said outside, but he saw Su Qingsang's beautiful neck and small earlobes. Along the back of her collar, he could see the smooth snow-white nape. That color made Hua Jinyao's eyes dim. He couldn't care less about eavesdropping on the conversation between his parents-in-law. He picked up Su Qingsang. Su Qingsang's body was suddenly suspended in the air, and she was startled. Hua Jinyao. What was he doing? She hadn't finished listening, although she didn't hear anything at all. Wife. Hua Jinyao carried her to the bedside in a few steps. You went to Japan for a week, right? How? Su Qingsang almost understood what he was going to do next. Only 6 days. Yes, that's a week. Hua Jinyao laid her body flat on the bed and lay down himself. Honey, we haven't had an in-depth conversation for a week. Su Qingsang looked into his eyes and suddenly felt hot. You. Me what? Hua Jinyao kissed the tip of her nose as he spoke. Don't you know that communication is essential for a good relationship between a husband and wife? Especially deep communication. Now let's exchange some pointers. Hua Jinyao. Call me husband. Hua Jinyao. Call me husband. Hubby. I'm here. Honey, I'm here. Say it again. Hubby. The following conversation was indeed very in-depth. Su Qingsang was still a little tired when she got up in the morning. It was true that absence made the heart grow fonder, but it was also true that her physical strength could not keep up. Hua Jinyao got up early, but it was raining today, so he couldn't go outside to do morning exercises. He saw Su Qingsang as soon as she woke up. He pecked her on the cheek. Morning. Early? It was getting late. Su Qingsang just wanted to get up, but her waist softened, and she lay back down. Hua Jinyao looked at her and wanted to laugh, but he didn't dare to really laugh. This wife was good at everything, but she was thin-skinned and had poor physical strength. Chapter 369. Su Qingsang pushed his hand away. How could she be fine? Stay away from me. I'll be fine. That won't do. When he met her coquettish eyes, he smiled, revealing his white teeth. Su Qingsang gritted her teeth. What are you laughing at? White teeth. Honey, I like to be near you. Hua Jinyao didn't forget to take advantage of her as he spoke. He wrapped his arms around her waist and said, Don't you know? Move, I want to get up. She still had to work today. He had rested for so long. When Su Qingsang got off the bed, she suddenly paused and said, By the way, I'll tell the director today. What? In fact, I mentioned it to the director before. I said that you wanted me to go to Rong City to develop my career. The director did not agree at the time. I'll talk to her again today and see what the director thinks. If it's possible, let's go to Rong City. He stood up and walked to Su Qingsang. Do you want to go to Rong City with me? Or do you want to avoid your father and your mother? Both. Although Su Qingsang was interrupted by Hua Jinyao yesterday, she didn't miss the sharp look on Xiang Caiping's face. You saw how my mother was. She couldn't communicate with my dad at all, let alone get along with him calmly. Although it was impossible for the two of them to be together now, if my dad kept pestering me like this, my mom would definitely feel very troubled. Since that's the case, why don't we separate them? At that time, they won't be able to see each other anymore, and I believe my mother's emotions will stabilize. Hua Jinyao nodded and said, Then you should ask your director. I'll talk to Cheng Xianyan and see which hospital you want to go to. There's no rush. We can talk about it when I get to Rong City, but I think we might have to take care of things in Lin City. All right. Whatever you say. Su Qingsang glanced at Hua Jinyao. She finally realized that he was almost unconditionally obedient to her when it came to these small matters. Looking at Hua Jinyao's handsome face, she leaned over and kissed him on the cheek. Hua Jinyao, thank you. Hua Jinyao held her waist and kissed her lips again when she moved away, and deepened the kiss. It wasn't until Su Qingsang's legs turned to jelly, and she leaned into his arms that he finally let her go. This is the gift I want. Su Qingsang glared at him, and quickly hid in the bathroom. The two of them walked out of the room hand in hand. Xiang Kaiping had already prepared breakfast. Recently, she was getting more and more familiar with this kind of thing. Morning, Mom. Morning, Mom. Good morning. Xiang Kaiping's gaze fell on their hands, which were held together. The more she looked at this pair of children, the more satisfied she was. Qingsang, how was your rest yesterday? Do you want to take another day off? No need. Su Qingsang picked up the bowl of porridge in front of her. I'm not that weak. Besides, I've already taken a few days off. Your health is more important. Xiang Kaiping was worried about her daughter. No matter what, if you're really tired, stay at home and rest. Anyway, even if Qingsang didn't work, the money she had earned in the past was enough for her to use for the rest of her life. Mom, you'll spoil me rotten. My daughter. I want to spoil her. After yesterday, Xiang Kaiping had thought it through. Su Qinghui, if you like to spoil your own daughter, then go ahead. If you want to be good to your own daughter, then go ahead. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support. And don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.